maybe there was something that they saw yesterday. Maybe they think, oh, this is their labs game. We know this game better. We know how to develop the game here. Then you're going into Chalet, but that was the pick that was always going to be. I mean, you're always going to favor BDS in a lot of engagements because of how good BDS are and have been. But ultimately, how, what else do you do, right? What else do you change? You've got to fight the lion.
Yeah, ultimately for BDS, their storyline coming into the Six Invitational is about, can they actually just find the win? Back-to-back major losses, and ultimately the one in Montreal, probably the bigger of the two. I mean, that felt like, to me, it was really set up for them. They were steaming throughout the majority of 2024. To lose that to W7M in the fashion that they did, and credit to W7M, of course, getting, that payback for EWC. But heading into Six Invitational now, there is that choker's tag on BDS. They just can't get the final result. That's got to be something that they need to overcome in this tournament. Better way to do it than to kick it off against DarkZero here. Nighthaven Labs to begin. BDS will begin on the defensive side. DarkZero looking to make amends for yesterday. Obviously, all eyes are going to be on the likes of Kobe Lact. I know he's been spoken a lot about, but I do think there is a player in there, and you've just got to give these rookies time. One event in Montreal, one event in SI, that's not a lot of time, Emmy, and you're going up against the best teams in the world. So ultimately, he's someone that's just going to continue to gain a valuable amount of experience throughout the tournament, and SI being a little bit longer than Montreal might aid him in that. He's got teammates like Bolo who are performing better than in Montreal, and JR's looking great. Pampazu's obviously someone that performed really well in Montreal too. So you've got a really, really solid roster in DarkZero, but it's all about how do they bounce back from yesterday. They cannot let that result against Razar Company dictate the way they're thinking today against BDS, and you've just got to have hope. And if anything, yesterday was a bit more of a pressurized game for DarkZero because they were expected to win. Now the expectation's on BDS, so they can go into this as a little bit of the underdog, try and start well, put the pressure onto BDS early.
Now, it's all the compliments to be paid towards Kangaroo Kenny as well. Obviously, he is one of the most experienced coaches in terms of going against recent BDS. Being on an EU roster, there's a quick take of utility, though, and that is a blow, really. Obviously, you're not juggling here alongside a Thatcher because they opted not to bring one. It means going into the hard breach side of it, it's a bit of a risk, and, BDS have fully played into that. They've got the Kaid, they've got the Bandit, and they've gone, well, no entry on towards this side itself. So DarkZero quickly have to adapt themselves on towards a plan B, which is going to lead into that entry game that you talked about before of how can they try and get the first strike and the first snap. And look at this, it's instantly being read as well by BDS. They've realized that the position and the pressure has changed. They know that they've pulled off IT, and IT's probably going to stay solid, and that didn't even get the electrics on that wall either. So at this point, the only option DarkZero really have is to just brute force their way in towards the corners, in towards the buildings, or up from underneath, and they're concerned someone might try and pop into it. They've got the hatch open so they can be responded to quickly, but look at the distance they're playing these claws on. They know they're not going to stand toe-to-toe directly with it. The eyes have just encircled on towards Electric, and at this point, they're just trying to find a first route in.
Yeah, and they don't have shield play either. Of course, Montaigne banned out. They don't have really much of a way to push through. No Blackbeard, for instance, which really can help alleviate some of that pressure going through these choke points. You've brought a hard breach lineup, but you've not been able to really get that going. So plan A has somewhat faltered. Now you've got to find the way to pivot, find the next chance to see if you can just quad stack over towards Garage side, find a couple of kills. It doesn't work with Bolo. I mentioned his entry stat to begin, 8-1. Well, to begin against BDS, it is a loss on that one. Naif, though, able to clean up Liquefact, but the trades will stay in favor for BDS momentarily. Up 3-2. Kobe will go down after finding a kill. Pampazu, the solo, and he will fall over towards blue. BDS kickstarting Six Invitational 25 with a round win against DZ.
I mean, as weird as it sort of is to say, even though they lost the round, I think at parts it went better than it probably, could have or should have there for the side of DarkZero. They didn't really have anything in terms of the hard breach play, in terms of getting the walls open, and in terms of the approach that would be deemed a traditional approach. And yet, when it comes down to a 2 versus 2, 2 versus 1, ultimately, you're still, finding some modicums of success. The trade game worked away from them, but if you're able to be the first step that's sort of convincing on the trade game, maybe you're in the 1 versus sort of 2 power position. And the end, the great swap between either side. But again, all they really had was rafters. A bit of a later appearance there from Pamba on towards the side of blue, but as I said, when plan A fails, and then plan B sort of also fails when they couldn't get the breach on towards the jungle side, plan C with 30 seconds left is...
Send it in and hope for the best.
It's going to be send it in and hope for the best.
Yeah. I would have liked a little bit more on the con side, really split up that defense of BDS. They were really focused in, especially towards Rafters. The blue push was very, very late, so it wasn't quite in sync either. I think that's just a case of DZ, as you said, going through plan A, plan B, not quite working, so you have to work on the fly. You can't quite just play that set game plan. In fairness, reminding here on Nighthaven Labs, defense very much prevalent, especially the sites like Command and Server, Basement as well. The two primary sites, not particularly easy to always take, although the game that we got to do yesterday was actually rather attacker-sided on this map, so you just never know what you're going to get, especially at the Six Invitational. Bolo onto the Flores, he can open up these castle barricades, of course, with those Roteros. One hard breach, a bit of soft breach as well through Kobilax on the ramp. Now, BDS can play this a couple of ways. First floor control seems like where they want to, meet DarkZero head on, and then look to fall back down towards basement for the second round.
Twitch drone out and about, trying to just remove some utility that's otherwise cooked. Obviously, you've got the connecting camera, but
that's a waste.
It's just forced back. Yeah, an early play. It obviously stops the boogie drone, but the boogie drone had its entrance on towards IT, had its entrance on towards the side itself. It's shepherding the BDS players back, but that is the whole game of this hold. You're wasting time. You're making them have to work for some of the verticality. You're not trying to get your life taken at this point, but you've got some powerful aggressors and you've got some huge guns on that side. So if anyone's going to not overstay their welcome, but feel more comfortable in it, there's a moment there into vending, but then traded out. Solotov finds Bolo as NGR is able to get Shaiko. Two different fights have sort of capitalized themselves, but Solotov is having to fight his way back. And as I said, if there's a team that's going to overstay their welcome, but they're happy to, Solotov, he's got himself cooked up in the kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, just winning this first floor battle right now, BDS, they're taking the contact fights. DarkZero got one through NJR, but he falls, and ultimately they have the advantage on a basement site. If BDS want, they can very much just stack the remaining floor towards basement. You still got Solotov though towards Cafe. That's giving them, a little bit of a difference point here that DC still need to deal with. So it's not like they can just rush, go hit site. They don't even have the numbers. They haven't even fully cleared out first floor. They're in a bit of a mess here on the second round. Still a Nitrocell too with users as Kobe takes a little bit of damage here on the ram. And here does come Solotov, but Kobe watching on the flank. It gets the very nice kill. 50 seconds left, 3v3. Somewhat winnable still for DC. If they can find the next pick, Emmy, it's going to really help them out.
Now, the removal, obviously, of the Dock B means that the pushes might be a little bit more sticky, but the Flores is kind of less of a cost than actually losing Bolo, who, as you said before, yesterday, huge player for the team, able to get themselves into the entry statistics. Kobe is stepping up as well as Nafe so far in the opening two rounds. The drop comes towards the little touch default plant spot, but Evac has the cross angle, and they just threw themselves in as I paid the compliments. Liquefact paid some in French with bullets. Users gets Pamba. And that is 2 rounds in a row for BDS.
Yeah, it's concerning that DC couldn't even really get a foothold towards basement, even around basement, say towards Cargo Stairs side. If, you think about Nighthaven Labs basement, it does play into that roam game. You see teams even sometimes contest up to second floor, for example, to play into that delay, then fall back first floor, etc. That kind of onion defense. But I think the issue there for DZ is that they never cleared out Solotov early enough, very late into the round. Yes, Kobe got the kill on the flank, but that was because Solotov kept pushing. So they always had that threat on the first floor side. So their ability to clear kind of failed in this round. BDS, I would say, won the middle portion. And on basement site Nighthaven Labs, if you can't win the middle portion of the round as the attacking team, it's going to be oh so difficult to then actually get site control. Nave Kobe, double drop, double death instantaneously. And yeah, BDS never felt, to me, threatened in that round, and that's concerning.
The site definitely not.
That's 2 rounds in a row, actually. I don't think BDS have been really threatened.
I mean, I think that's the sort of knuckling down of it right now, isn't it? It's the fact that the site structure itself isn't really being pushed apart. And whether that's the approach, obviously, they highlighted it on the desk that Kangaroo Kenny's trying to build DarkZero into a sort of more modern siege, a bit more aggressive mobility, a little bit less sort of stringent step-by-step focus. It's a teething period or a learning period, but this is a map and this is a team where that's tough to make it land on towards labs, right? You have these sort of heavy solid walls on most of the core sites. You've got to get some of your hard breach done. You've got to get yourself some of this passive pressure angles opened up, and it's not really anything that's coming to light so far. DarkZero put these early doors on towards the attacker side. Obviously, they'll have the second half of it on their defense. I'm not entirely sure what cooked them all the way to the end last time and where they had more preference, but currently Shaiko's preference is to go all the way outside. But luckily for the DarkZero player on cams, they were the right side of the shipping container and weren't quite caught out. It was Pamba. It was on the drone, and the Deimos now will have the reveal on the operators. They've got themselves double stacked up. They're looking to try and get a direct line, but if you look towards the top, the pressure onto IT, that should be the next step. And this is the game that obviously we talked about struggling and failing the recent rounds. This time, BDS, they're not going to contest it.
Yeah, I mean, Brady can't really do too much because of the death mark from Pampersuit, good usage of the Deimos, and obviously the idea storage control. You want that IT side, you can look down in towards storage, so the plant's a bit safer, and then, of course, you can play the post plant. So BDS will have to defend both second floor, first floor, but when you bring that Deimos, makes it a bit more trickier for the Bandit to get any kind of juggling to keep IT from being opened up. In saying that, yeah, time isn't too bad for BDS right now. This is the tertiary side. DarkZero need to get on the board here, otherwise we go back around the world, double primary coming up after that, and BDS will be looking very comfortable on the defense. Logic Bomb called out from Kobe Lax as Brede again just looking to just try and keep command server locked down. They need to keep the second floor control. DarkZero need to take it to fully utilize IT. The swing from Brede rather aggressive, and Kobe will shut him down. Opening kill goes the way of DarkZero, but their advantage doesn't last for long.
I mean, rather aggressive is a bit of an overstatement, but here's two more aggressive players finding some fight back. Kobe, he's got a big moment to try and keep the momentum in towards their favor. Some support on his left shoulder and some coming in the top of blue. Great take from Nafe around the corner on towards users. But here we are with some vertical control and still scrappy fights happening. Liquefact comes off worse for wear.
Well, they got second floor, Emmy. So 50 seconds left. You finally got second floor. You can play IT. The issue is, though, you haven't really got around that storage area cleared out, and you've still got a lot of utility for BDS to defend any kind of plant in there. I wonder if they might pivot, try and go for a control push eventually. 30 seconds. You're going to have to just take some of these fights. And one from above. Kobe will get the down on to Shaiko. Finishes him off. 2 into the round for Kobe Laxers. NJR also gets rid of Liquefact. DarkZero on the board against BDS.
Let's go, boys. Well played, Kobe.
There we go.
That's big for Kobe's confidence.
Oh, huge. I mean, you know, past 2 rounds in a row, you know, there are talisman players. There are some of the best players in the world. Shaiko is always in that conversation. I think Kobe's 2-0 against him right now. For a young gun who's probably almost definitely watched these players play across the big stages, what is better in any sporting achievement than when you get one over on a, you know, everybody wants to nutmeg Messi, right? That's just what you want to do. And getting that is the biggest confidence builder. And that is one of those questions of when will we get to see Kobe's confidence start to build up and build up and build up? BDS are taking some risky fights they don't need to. Case in point, that one. Case in point, Brede. Liquefact almost suffered from the same sort of setup. And yeah, you know, there is this vertical position. They could play themselves more hesitant, but it's BDS. BDS are going to play BDS's style, and they're going to try and play it all the way through again because it's been, well, it's pretty good statistically this year. I think it was 56, 58 games that they've played throughout the year. They've lost, I think it was 7 total, maybe even 6.
It was 8.
Was it 8? 2 of those were grand finals of majors.
That's not
This
a good
includes
thing.
everything, by the way. This is leagues, Malta Cyber Series, EWC, both majors. BDS have lost only 8 games.
Well, they're like an elevated version of FaZe from last year. You think about FaZe losing, you know, 2 semi-final majors and then making the SI Grand Final to then eventually lose. You know, for BDS now, it's somewhat similar, but even heightened because they've lost 2 major finals now into SI. So there's a lot of expectations on BDS for sure. We head into the 4th round now, 2-1 split. I would consider that a pretty even half here for the first half. And it's the fact that DarkZero are doing well without Bolo and Pamperzu yet finding a kill, especially after Bolo 8-1 on the entry yesterday against Razak Company, not being able to find a kill yet. So there's still room for improvement when it comes to the side of DarkZero. BDS, everyone across the board has started quite well. So of the 2 teams, I feel like DZ's the one that could still find another level, and they will need to find that if they are to get one of these primary sites away from BDS as Kobe Lax on the Glaz makes his entry in.
I like this, a good response to the tricking. They
Good
realized
control.
Yeah, it was everything they lost last time was we talked about it. They were tricked out of the breach. They weren't able to get the other breach open either. So this time round, why risk it? Throw the smoke in, throw the Glaz in. BDS aren't going to sit around and give their lives entirely willy-nilly. But here, caught on the drone round the back. There's a drone watching. What happened there? I mean, they get the trade out, sure, but at the cost of Pamba.
Quick adjustment, though, from Kobe. Knows he has to get that trade. He knows Liquefact's either going to have to push forward into dangerous territory or look to fall back. He cuts the back line off, gets the kill. So at least evens up 4-4, but Pampers are just yet to really get involved at all, especially on that Deimos. The death marks later on in the round are so critical in highlighting some of these key player positions, especially if they're looking to tuck in behind pieces of objects like Solotov as well in towards command. 55 seconds. Breach opened up, Rafters control better than last time, but still probably not enough. They need to go towards blue, maybe even on the con side if they really want to stretch this defense of BDS.
Well, they're holding on towards the top of blue. They're inside IT, trying to make their way across, and Bolo wants to hit electric, but Shaiko is making that very awkward for him on the opposite end. It's a heavy Rafters approach with him. Glass removed by users. The fight falls into Nave's favor. Bolo's able to get Shaiko, and suddenly it is just Solotov on the back of the site. Now, they do not currently have the kid in pocket that is isolated inside IT. That's why they've got to quickly pick themselves up, go for the rotate. And he's been able to fight, but he didn't lock it down!
I thought he killed him!
Thought he killed him, pulled up for the next fight, but...
Chalet. Yes, baby! Come on!
Pampers looks like someone who's 0-4, but his team's doing all right, 2-2.
I mean, I'm not going crazy. Like, we saw from the perspective that there was a drone that was not lit up. That was lit up on the corner.
Yeah. That's fine.
Maybe it's just a visual bug.
Forget about individual performances. When you're playing at Six Invitational, it goes out the window. You're just looking to win as a team. Doesn't matter if you go 0-10. If you win, you win. Big round win, though, for DarkZero. Much better than last time out. When you look at the small sample size of 2 rounds on command server, last time failed on the breaches, plan B then fails, and it was just like a quad stack Rafters, which is just too one-dimensional. You just get absolutely congested trying to go through these doorways, and it makes it very difficult, very easy for BDS. This time around, though, you get the Glaz involved early, you get Rafters pressure early, you're putting pressure onto BDS, you're coming on the meeting side, you're doing a much better job towards IT. Some of it did get a little bit lost when Liquefact gets that kill, sure. But then the immediate trade from Kobelax, at the very least, then strengthens DarkZero once again. 2-2, they get a win on the primary side, 2 attacking rounds against BDS. This is a team that yesterday lost to Rizar Company, but so far against BDS, they look a little bit more lively. And you can see it as well in their celebrations when they win these rounds.
Oh, yeah. You know, how sort of important it is for them to step up, especially when the guns that we highlighted as well aren't really the guns that are currently connected to the game itself. Bolo, as we said, is struggling to get on that entry. Pamba being shut down on these sort of aggressive entry rolls. You know, it's tough. But then Kobe suddenly playing one of the best games he's played so far against one of the best teams. It's that conversation of the pressure's changed, the difference has changed. It's day 2 of SI. You're able to take a breath, take a sleep, and come back with sort of fresh eyes. There's the hunt on towards this position that, remember, was able to start netting a couple of kills on towards the favor of BDS. They want to make sure that Liquefact isn't free to play around it. Last time it was Solotov, but the changing of hands and the changing of pace is actually one that's forcing BDS back quicker and quicker. They're not going to stick around too much on towards that angle as they can feel BDS, even DarkZero starting to encircle them. They're inside vending, they get 1 kill on the way out the door, but there's Kobe!
Wow.
Popped in the window and dropped 2 of them down. Fantastic play on the back of the boogie drone.
Yeah, do your thing, Kobe, do your thing. The haters are talking, but you're showing up right now against one of the best teams in the world, if not regarded as the best. 7-3. And a big advantage now for DarkZero, looking to find yet another round here on the attack of Nighthaven Labs. A lot of pressure here on someone like Shaiko to really start getting involved. Highest EPS player at the Montreal Major, an absolute pinnacle superstar, but 2-4 being quiet, not making an impact. So in this 3 versus 4 on the defense, look to him to be the one to try and get involved still as a Nitrocell. So does users as well, but DarkZero's got time, 1:20. They can start to get a lot of pressure here. First floor looking down towards basement, look to then get side control over towards the Exo side, Cargo side. They can really surround BDS, but there he is. Shaiko makes his mark, shuts down the rookie. Kobe will have to see out the rest of the round on the sidelines. 3v3 with a minute remaining. Big round coming up for both teams.
Now we got to see if Nave can try and get some IGLing round on his sort of modern system with the team build an approach here. They're angling on towards Exo, but you've still got a bit of a spread there towards the back end of the blue stairs. They're eyeing themselves to push down from that point, maybe with the kit. They seem to be in deep conversation, but as the time ticks on with how vast this site can be, you're starting to question what they're angling for, what they're trying to hope for at this point, because BDS aren't giving it to them. Sure,
they have no flashes, like they don't really have much good utility. No logic bombs available from NJR. You've got one smoke on Nafe. That's about it. So it seems like, to me, DarkZero is quite hesitant in dropping down. They're not quite sure where BDS are located. They've got drones. Need to make the most of them. Big win from NJR, but traded. They actually trade each other. 1 for 1, 15 seconds left. Over towards the tank we go.
Ring around the rosies, but only one still standing, and now it's suddenly a 1 versus 1. Bolo versus Users. The pistols are out, but they're not quite able to connect Users. He's able to get himself to there, but it was as close as possible, the first bullet that he fired, to actually confirm the kill. The down player was giving all the reads, but in the end, it just sort of worked as a spray transfer. I mean, to be honest, they had no other choice. Not enough time left for them to try and get in there, Xenox.
Yeah, and I think they were looking for picks. They didn't have the utility that they wanted to really flush out positions, drop down, go for those pushes. Because of that, I think they spent more time looking through the floorboards to try and find a kill or two to continue to have an advantage when they eventually look to push down. That's a wonderful quick down from Users, puts himself in a great position to finish off Bolo, who was, pretty much on like 1.5 HP, something ridiculous. Like, he was very unlikely to win that round on such low health with a pistol out. Bolo was always up against it, but 3-2, and it's a big round win for BDS. They were down a player for a large portion of that round. Crucial kills from Shaiko, as I pointed out. Middle portion, he had to be one to stand up. He did so. When you're down a couple of players, you're playing basement, there's a lot of the map that, in terms of control, you have now given up. You've got no pressure first floor, no real flanking opportunities. They were able to just hold steady. Fortunately, DZ didn't have the utility to flush out their positions. Ends up being a bit of a slaughterhouse on site. And now, final round of the half coming up as we head back to the tertiaries. Storage and control. For DarkZero, another opportunity here on a site that they've already won.
I mean, it's still a great fight so far from DarkZero, remembering that it's their map, but, it's the levels that we're into on this conversation, right? They're doubling down on it, going back to it. It's a map that BDS don't really, like. I think it's fair to say when it's their second least preference. And at this point, if they're angling themselves up for the 3-3, it puts DarkZero in a really great position to secure the map.
And kind of going on what you're saying there regarding Nighthaven Labs, like, I mean, if DarkZero is going to win this series, it's probably going to be a 2-1. I don't see them winning Chalet. BDS are undefeated on that map since, like, the 9th last year. So it's been since September last year. So, it's been a long period of time since BDS has actually lost on Chalet. Obviously, there's someone's going to have to do it at some point in the future. It could be in this very next map, but I think it's unlikely. I think for DarkZero as well, I mean, this is the kind of game where it's just all about finding form, and after losing yesterday to Razar Company, I think there might have been some hard truths about how much effort they probably need to start putting in for the remainder of the Six Invitational. They need to go to another level, really put more into the chamber. And so far, they're doing it against BDS. Now it's about getting reward for effort. Find this round here, 3-3 half, and you will get that reward. Otherwise, I mean, if this goes 2-4, it's pretty par for the course, I think, when it comes to Nighthaven Labs. So BDS will be fine on their defensive side to get 4 rounds.
And as you said, the second map, Chalet, a map that BDS have pretty much been undefeated on since the release of Rainbow Six Vegas 2, so they've had some time. Did you ever play the old Rainbow games?
Yeah, I think so. About a long time ago.
Yeah,
long time
that was
ago.
the setup of the joke. It's all right. Hap usually doesn't get those either. A minute on, and the first fight comes out towards it, and they just swung in, but, well, it's traded back and forth all over the shop. A 4 versus 2 is the fallout of the end to just Kobe. Now, he's able to get the first. He'll reveal his position to the remaining BDS players, though.
He knows League of Facts low. We should know that he's low.
Charging in and past every fight possible. He's trying to isolate.
Just tap him, he's low.
But he just can't get the confirmation. Finally finds it. And as he gets to the end of it, now a 2 versus 1, but one above is the risk. The first call goes out.
He's close. Logic bomb, you got the information. I think for a second he hesitated, maybe thought he was above. Oh, Shaiko with the Nitrocell. Kobilax had a lot to do there as the last one alive. Did find 2 kills, but required 2 more. And it was far too much to do for the rookie.
It's maybe one of the most horrifying damage indicators is when you've been hit physically by the C4. Because at that point, you're like, yeah, this is a job's done.
Well, for all of the heroics in the half for DarkZero, BDS still walk away with a 4-2 lead after the first half. So I think they're pretty comfortable. And BDS is the kind of team that has the firepower, absolutely, to be able to get these attacking rounds. Nighthaven Labs, defender-sided and focused, but if you're a really good entry team and you've got really good set plays, you can crack this map. And I think the biggest understanding of that is the first round where DZ just got completely shut out of the breach game. If option 1 fails, this map becomes quite difficult. But if you can get that first option, if you can get the breaches open, especially command server, and I think BDS should be more than capable. Not having the Maverick, not ideal, of course, banned out, but I think that that's the kind of thing where BDS probably are better when it comes to the pivoting of the adaptation.
Yep.
Plan B, Plan C, for example. If they can't get the breach opened up nicely, you can send someone like a Shaiko on the Deimos. He can go roaming around, meeting con side or even a blue side push, rather than full stacking into rafters like we saw from DarkZero.
Now, amongst the chaos of that, Pamba was able to find their first kill as well, and, you know, better time just before the turn of the half than after. It gives yourself almost that, okay, now we're into the second set of this game. I've been able to get myself onto the board because they are a bit of a missing link right now. If you imagine them firing at their usual capabilities, suddenly you have a DarkZero that's, you know, probably level, maybe a step beyond here. They're going to see if they can try and hold off the approach of BDS. Liquefac is the buck ready to get into action if they start trying to. Stop the breach going off. Obviously, Pava could try and play against it, but I'm assuming they'll hear and feel the pressure from underneath the IT wall.
It's good patience at the very least here from BDS. I think they're just trying to see if someone from DarkZero, like a Pampazoo, you know, tries to push up. But I think with the way that this is set up, yeah, it's almost like a bit of a bait here from DarkZero, and Pampazoo is going to get the kill onto Liquefac, who probably just needed to do his checklist, do his job with the skeleton key, really make opening up that IT easier. But I love what they've done with the mirror window, opens it up from DarkZero, making it so difficult, as you can see here from this hole, to actually go for a standardized attack and open up the IT breach. And so BDS, this is where I said before, that have they got the ability to adapt now? Plan B, Plan C, what do we do from here? We've lost the buck, IT storage, not quite going to be the best form of attack now. We need to pivot, we need to go for a different angle of approach.
Shaiko wants to swing on towards the door, but he's going right into a mirror window, and
Okay, they get it.
the breach does come together. It's a hop angle. The Deimos will get the track, and they're inside IT. The pressure is BDS to take from Kobe as he actually hops back out after the first engagement. They've got themselves level, and they're not going to go any further. Shaiko's tracking Bolo and just feeding that intel to potentially a player underneath. They seem like they wanted to eye up the fight for into second, but instead Solotov rotated his way up the rafters. They're getting themselves fully surrounded. We talked about the pressure of this play before. With IT, you at least get yourself a bit of extra wiggle room, but there's no pressure on towards the top of the blue currently from a player. There's nobody that's trying to make their way on towards electrical or connector. So will BDS send potentially somebody else round onto the back end, and where is Users going to operate from? Because the Ying and the Candelas is really the point of the drive here. There's some damage from underneath, and there's the Users that we're talking about at the moment. The cover, the blinds, and the Elegadget is going to offer something else, but BDS, they're stalling a little. 30 seconds, they're finally formulating on towards the rafters, ready to start knocking onto the site here, Xenox.
Yeah, and Dave's sitting towards blue on the CC stairs, so that's blocking off that entry point for BDS, so don't worry too much about why they're not pushing in that direction. Big kill all the way from BDS, even so much so that Brede finds a double onto his teammate of Users. They've still got the advantage, they've still got the numbers. Down to Nafe and NJR, coming in towards command now as we see the death mark called out from Shaiko on to Nafe. Solotov will follow suit, courtesy of that death mark. NJR with the kill onto Solotov just gives a brief hope, a brief moment still for DarkZero. Needs to deny the plant. Shaiko close by. Brede confirms the plant, and Shaiko confirms the kill as BDS extend their lead on Nighthaven Labs.
A team kill did happen in and amongst it, but it wasn't enough to slow them down. And now that 4-2 to 5-2 divide over the Cavern of the Halves feels pretty wide. As we said before, it's to the second map they're going to is going to be a tough one, but you know, every single team in this tournament, if they're talking about what their toughest game is going to be, is going to be against BDS. You're always going to be stressed and pushed and sort of pressed to the brink regardless of where you go, and this is that for DarkZero. They've had these snappy, sharp moments. They've improved, definitely in certain sort of plays and how they were going from yesterday to today, but it is always a trial by fire that you can never be ready. Pamba, he's able to get himself one more as well. Bolo's feel sort of drifting around. But Kobe, again, he's still impressing me with
He
how
is.
much he's getting into this.
But what impresses me the most is that for BDS, this is not just like the Shaiko show or the Liquefact show.
Oh,
like
no.
if you actually look at the numbers here for all of them, it's like BDS got the lowest on 5 and Solotov's got the highest on 7. Like you've got 5 players that are pretty much playing at the same level, similar level. That just gives you so much more strength across the board. You know, right now it's Kobe's game. Yeah, he's doing great. 9 and 6. He's getting some really good kills. But ultimately, then if he loses his life, what's next up? You know, the 2-7 Pambazu, the 2-6 Bowler. So you haven't quite then got that same firepower, at least in this particular map. But right now, BDS just looked like a more complete round team. No surprises there. No one is shocked by that.
No, as I said, they're tournament favorites. There goes Solotov. Pamba, again, as I said, he's starting to cook, but so is this. The breach, the blitz, smashing their way through all the way up to the mirror window as it gets covered. An impact does hit, but now look, face to face, toe to toe, round and round we go, but a man behind him comes in offers some support, and Bolo goes down to, gets down onto Shaiko as well. Bride does trade it out, but with only Liquefact above and Bride inside the site, he cannot sit around. A failed landing. I think it's fair to say, but a great reaction from NJR specifically. He knew what he had to sort of do there, which was not die on towards the mirror window, rehold, reposition himself, wait for the blitz to come all the way around. BDS, they overextended in support, creamed itself down the cargo stairs, and now, with a lot of time, can they try and find their way out of the 2 versus 4?
I gotta be very careful here, Emmy, because I'm not a color.
Yeah?
Neither are you.
No?
But I need to think about the way in which BDS have thought through this process. It's a very normal rush that you've gone for. You send the blitz in, you smoke off the mirror window, and you go around the corner. They lost Solotov early. We didn't quite get to see how or how that's gone and taken place, so you don't have the logic bombs. The idea is sound. The issue with the idea, though, is when you've already lost one play and you haven't got the first floor control, DarkZero are very much in a good position to then be able to battle that rush. You've got the extra player, you've got first floor, and you've got the ability to then push down cargo stairs and aid those players who are playing, say, the mirror window position, watching in towards the breach. For BDS, too many players also stayed out of the breach, and you didn't really have anyone following in Users. Users just went by himself. Yeah. He's gone all the way in towards Tank, completely by himself, takes the 1v1 with NJR, and Blitz is not quite as strong as Blitz used to be before the nerfs. So ultimately for BDS, it just felt like a very rushed attack, which is not quite like the BDS we would probably expect, where they're very calculated, make really good, calm plays. I felt like maybe once they lost Solotov, it should have just been, hey, let's just go for a plan B.
I think what they're waiting for right now is for the plant to be attempted and then maybe try and put pressure onto Liquefact. Bride is sitting and waiting, and he almost could have confirmed that, but he didn't want to risk it. Pops the fire in. Liquefact's able to get one.
You cannot be losing
3 but the time is the worry. They've pulled themselves back out. 20 seconds, and DarkZero make the right decision, which is leave. Pull themselves further away, and they drop in. It's a down player.
Oh my God.
Bride takes a scrap of damage, but cargo stairs of Kobe again showing up when DarkZero need him the most. It leaves Bride, but it's a long distance between the 2 remaining players. They aren't offering him anything. He's just going to hold on to it because they know he doesn't have another choice. And there is the close down.
It should never have been that close, Emmy. That is a heart attack moment. I feel sorry for the NA fans here watching, because that's the kind of round that, like, you should just be chilling. Great, we stopped the rush. The rush from BDS was broken apart immediately. DarkZero got the opening kill onto Solotov. You don't even have to worry about the Docker B. It's a 4v2. We're chilling. They've got no map control. They've got no real ability to get the plant down. And then the whole round just went to this, like, settling moment, and BDS are like, they're not pushing. They're not looking for us. Like, we can get the plant down. We can send Liquefact up above, get storage control. He can actually get some vert. And so throughout the next 30, 40 seconds, BDS are actually getting themselves back into the round, which they should never have even been into. I don't know if that's a case of DZ just like, I don't want to say the word panicking, but maybe hesitating as to how to finish the round off now. You've got such a strong advantage. How do we actually finalize this round? Credit to Kobe, though. He's got to double digits. First one inside of the server, having a tremendous game, making those analysts,
I mean, he's making
some eggs.
Let's be honest here. Kobe's making everybody.
They had a whole graphic on him.
They did have a whole graphic on him. And you know what? He's locked in.
He's locked in.
He's having a fantastic game so far. He's, you know, and it was this conversation that we sort of had in the green room, because we break down all the teams, we'll sort of all get together, all the talent, and talk about the storylines. And one of the big ones was for this team about Kobe, about the fact that he's sort of...
It was a 5-on-2 at that moment.
Yeah, a very quick rise up in towards getting to a major, towards getting to SI from where he was playing before. It's a huge amount of pressure for any player, let alone a young gun who is, you know, getting themselves, so that it doesn't matter how much of a prodigal player you are or not, it's a huge amount of pressure. And whether Montreal, the teething experience there and how things didn't quite go his way, coming into this tournament, it's another teething day. But there's a moment where that pressure of I'm the newbie, I'm an amateur, I'm whatever, and all those doubts sort of slip away and you go, no, I'm here for a reason.
Well, this is just affirmation, though, that you, you do belong, that you can play at this level.
Exactly, and that is something that mentally you get over. Is this the moment Kobe's been able to sort of get over that hurdle? If it is, amazing. Because you always want to see players playing to their best ability, and here, he's locked in.
Yeah, vocally is as well.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, it's great to see for the kid. 5-3, and it's the blitz once again for users. Of course, don't forget, I mean, DarkZero on defense here. So I know it's a 5-3 scoreline, was 5-2. Losing the primary site command server, not ideal if you're defense labs, but there's still some wiggle room here for DZ to really bring that scoreline back, put themselves into a decent position where they can either look to win the map or send it to OT. BDS, though, you know, you're not going to see BDS have a round like they did in the previous one all that often, so they've made the moment. Nitrocell thrown out, but it's very fast rushing users. The blitz is successful. Liquefact got the opening kill on to Kobe. There was that trade, though, so 1 for 1, not awful considering the pressure that we got from BDS very early into this round. DarkZero able to offset it with a nice kill back onto Liquefact.
And JR is able to keep the pressure up as well. As you said, you know, you're entirely blinded, a blitz on one side and a player on the other. You're not really going to survive that one 99 times out of 100, but the trade was at least there. They were at least able to pull a body back on. Liquefact is gone. That sort of vocal lead voice will now just be on the cam trying to cool things from the back end. Nath, on the other hand, the opposing IGL can keep himself active inside the game. The Mute Jammers will stop that death mark. No tracks on Bolo, no pressure coming in from underneath. Solotov is going to have to get a little bit more direct up towards the back of rafters. Brede does find the head of Pamba, and there's a long Selma throw on towards the wall. Bolo is tempted to go out and shoot it off, and does, because nobody was watching on towards it. It's a bait onto utility, but here, an Ela target, though we know that there are Mute Jammers close by, so the death mark will fail again. They'll just sort of cleanse themselves of that phantom pressure.
This is a very aggressive position from Naif. You know, if Users was pushing towards blue, that blitz would probably find the way to deal with the Warden pretty comfortably, especially as it's usually accompanied with backup. But right now, BDS not really shaping up for a blue side hit. They got all of their members now towards IT, towards Rafters, 40 seconds left. Big Nitrocell from Bolo, but it's going to fall short of Brito, who just pulled back at the right time on the Hibana. Trying to get some help towards Rafters now as well. Solotov making his way in. Shaiko, though, with the Vendetta. Bullet does get one for good measure, but ultimately BDS just able to surround DarkZero towards site. And once again, DZ on defense labs are losing another round on a key site. And with that, it's going to be now match point for BDS.
Sounded like one of the BDS players hasn't put the legs up on their keyboard there. Just said, my keyboard is moving. I'm not sure who it was.
It really shows the quality of BDS, though. This is the kind of game that, to me, just shows their quality, what they have been able to do over the last 12 months or so, and why they're such an impressive outfit, and also why I'm just staggered that they haven't won a major in the last couple of majors. So
I think they're as staggered.
Probably. Their fans certainly
But again,
do.
it's an insane statistic that we talked about before. What, 58 games played throughout the year across all the competitions we have tracked. They have only lost 8 games. 2 of them best of 5 finals, right? They've only lost, I think it's, again, 5 different teams.
You have to play at your very best if you're going to beat BDS. And DZ right now, I think, have actually played better than they did yesterday against Razar Company. But this is not Razar Company, this is BDS. So there's a high elevation that you need to find. 6-3, and BDS have looked pretty much in control for the vast majority of this match, which is disappointing for DZ. Going into Chalet next is really going to be going from the fire to basically the pits of hell.
Yeah, well,
on a very frozen landscape.
To put it sort of into perspective, obviously the numbers, this map itself is, you know, second or least favorite. It was said by the desk. It's one that often BDS will ban instead. Chalet, they are 10-0. I've got on my data, at least for the year.
Undefeated.
So that's a pretty good statistic, I think, from...
I would say so, Emmy.
Yeah, generally from people's test.
I mean, the takeaways for me so far in this game has been, again, BDS. Yes, they've got standout players, but they're a standout team, and they can all have their moment. Whether it's Liquefact, Solotov, Shaiko, Predate, Users. I mean, like, all 5 of those players can have a game, and probably will throughout the course of this tournament, where they are the ones that are elevated compared to their companions. But in this game so far, they've all been on quite literally the same level. 8 or 7 kills between the 5 of them. For DZ, this has been Kobe's game. You know, and in another game, it might be NJR's or it might be Bowlers. They've got that same caliber, but in the game itself, everyone's on very different level planes of elevation. So DZ are not quite as in sync as BDS across the 5 players. Bolo having a slow game, Pampers who have a slow game, Nave having a slow game. It's just really Kobe and NJR that are finding the ability to get good kills, to put DZ into good positions for this particular match. Minute and a half, a bit of a slow burn for this first match point for BDS as they look to make their way around the map.
Some pressure from underneath. It hasn't been netted with a kill as of yet, but you just hear and see and get hunted down by BDS. The lineup is relentless for this. They're inside. Solotov's been able to find himself a double. NJR and Shaiko are having a battle on cargo stairs, but the only one that's been put in a box has been all the DarkZero. Nath. All that's left here of keeping DarkZero alive. Got to ace onto BDS in the first fight. He's not able to get it connected. Has to pull himself out as Predate secures the plant, but a flawless. To end the opener here, BDS, they are taking their opponent's map and are eyeing up Chalet.
There was a flicker from DZ in this match, but it was snuffed out really early from BDS as they just went from strength to strength. They felt like a juggernaut team that was improving really as the game was going on. That's the big thing for me, is BDS really just got better and better. They played as a team, all 5 players having a pretty much standout performance, all with really good EPS. It's going to be a very difficult task now for DarkZero to get anything on Chalet. 1-0 for BDS.
I mean, what a performance, right? And I think there'll be a lot of fun things for our devs to sort of talk about, and a lot of fun things for them to be able to piece across here, Xenox.
They will be.
BDS win DarkZero's map pick of Nighthaven Labs, and it's quite funny because it isn't even one of their favorite maps at all.
Second lowest preference, by the way. So that tells us about just how much BDS has been working.
This is a map they don't play.
This is a map they're supposed to not play too much, yes. So I'm not surprised, to be honest. Like they took 1 month of break after Montreal Major. They didn't have to worry about trying to qualify to SI. They had plenty of time to prepare in the shadows and cook, and that's exactly what we've seen here, a big cooking moment.
I say it time and time again. Every single time that we get to these big tournaments, the team that wins it, they all share the same characteristic, that they have an absolutely ginormous map pool. It's no surprise that BDS are happy to go on to a map pick that, in a 1 to 9 preference graph, shows you that it's their 8th preference. They will still play it. Newsflash, they'll also play their 9th preference map as well.
I mean, yeah, if you want to play these best of 5s, you want to have a deep map pool. You got to make sure you play on many different maps, even though they aren't your favorite, and you still have to perform. And that's what we saw BDS do exactly on this map. It started off with early struggles even on the side of DarkZero. We know it's not easy to attack on a map like Nighthaven Labs, but even the basics, it just seems really difficult for them.
Yeah, I want to pull that. This highlight here is absolutely perfect. The first 6 rounds, it's a 2-4 attack split for DarkZero. Now, you're going to say, maybe not too bad, but what I will say is whenever you're going to be against a top team in the division, you need to be doing better than what is expected on the map. So 2-4 attack split on Nighthaven is, I would say, okay. Now, attack for DarkZero yesterday was a big struggle of theirs against Raza H Company. Attack so far today has been a struggle, because then when you see BDS get out onto their attacks, out of the 4 attacks they had, they obviously won 3 of them and got this over the line. And I think attack win rate is a big differentiating factor between a good team and a great team.
And just speaking of attack on this map, let's be very, very stupid here. The basics on Nighthaven Labs, what you need to do. Open up the main walls that are outside and then work the execute. Most of the bomb site is available from directly the outside, like 1 or 2 rooms, right? On some of the basement ones, you need to roam clear, but most of the times what you need to do is problem solve that wall denial. And that, for me, was a massive issue for DarkZero. If you take a look at the first 3 rounds of this match, it's completely crazy. Look at that Kaid trick. EMP, mini EMP sent bottom. You're playing against a Kaid. Of course, he's going to set it up, and he denied the thermite charge. He denied the ace charge. And then you look at Bandit. Bandit has Bandit tricked this 2 wall. He's now reinforcing this, and will also Bandit trick here. So closing again, even more wall denial. As you can see, Kaid and Bandit being played here in the first round. You look at the second round, look at this setup. Bandit charges everywhere on the basement to prevent this, and the Mira setup as well to help cover. We look at the third round. In the roaming as well, they also bring Bandit, and they Bandit trick here again. It was such a big issue for DarkZero.
And this goes back to absolute fundamentals of Siege. If you can't open walls to access a bomb site, and this is fundamentals of Siege, you have to walk through a doorway, you have to walk through a choke point, you're going to get absolutely gatted down by the defenders that are inside of the site. And that is exactly what happened. DarkZero really just didn't set themselves up for any kind of success They didn't bring Thatcher, they didn't bring Maverick, they didn't Book from below, they didn't Zofia from below. So many options that they could have done to guarantee those breaches. Didn't take any of them. It cost them rounds.
Comes down to the problem solving on their attacks not maybe being exactly the way they wanted to, but for a bit of spark of positivity over on the side of DarkZero, there was one player we mentioned really needed to step up. We talked about him in the pre-show, and now again, Kobe, he's doing a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. Kobe had an awful Montreal major. He had an awful day one yesterday against Raza H Company, and he's taken out a game today where he's gone positive. Yes, DarkZero lost. That's not a good sign. But on an individual basis, Kobe managed to accumulate over 10 kills against probably the best team in the world, more than 1 KPR, and on an individual basis, this will do his world of confidence good. Because like we said, we challenged him. He wasn't the issue in this side of this map. We challenged him to be the one to step up, and he did against BDS.
I think that's exactly the case we mentioned before, right? Pressure is off his shoulders, right? He could not do worse than he did in Montreal. This is the moment where he needs to step up. He has stepped up. Is it enough for DZ to work? Not really. You look at the side of BDS, everyone has the same amount of kills almost. Right now, Kobe is a little bit playing alone here. DZ needs to step up as a whole. It will be tough on the next map, I'm afraid.
I mean, when we looked at the map summary and we looked at the stats from all these players, we saw that BDS was way more balanced in that as well, right? It's kind of what you expect from a team. We know there's star potential on this roster. I mean, Shaiko is a player that everyone looks to get these kills on the board. He wasn't even the top fragger. Everyone was the shared top fragger on BDS.
It's really starting to become the story of this, isn't it, with BDS? That we don't consider... There was once time where you considered BDS the Shaiko show. Shaiko and his gang of fairy bandits, like, behind him. But it's not now. And, you know, you think of users, he got an individual big clutch. Leaky Facts there, obviously IGLing, still putting up numbers. It's a complete package performance from BDS all of the time.
The super team that works as a team. And that's basically the end for BDS. And if you look at the way they've attacked and problem solved the execution, the difference with the Blitz, the difference with the Ying, and you can see here Naif, he's having a show, like, right now.
Yeah,
they know they need to change something.
No, it's not often we get to see what the players do in between these maps in a best-of-3 situation, but they look rather, well, stressed maybe. There's a huge conversation going on, at least, about what they need to improve to make sure they survive in this best-of-3. We'll take a quick break, and then we're back with the rest of the series.
Back it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Back it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Back to the back to the back to the back to the back. Take it back, take it back. Back it up, 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 back it up. Take it back, take it back. Back it up, back it up, back it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Back it up, back it up. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Let me take it back to the realness, feel this. Back to the back to the back to the back to the back.
Just love the music. I'm here for the music.
We're just vibing.
Yeah, we were vibing, enjoying the music, practicing our TikTok dances, I guess, as well. Something that you may have seen from us on the first day. But we have a more important matters to get to, and that is the second map between BDS and DarkZero. Chalet. Now, please, could you remind the viewers, maybe that just tuned in, about what we said about Chalet in the map veto?
Well, let's make it clear. BDS is undefeated on that map ever since EWC in August, and they are on a 5-win streak on that map. So they have 3-star maps where they're undefeated for a long time. Chalet is one of them. It's very tough to leave it open, but any opponent is forced to leave one of the 3 maps open, and that's exactly what happened here.
Yeah, that's the nature of the best of 3s. I will say, if you're a DarkZero fan, DarkZero should be good at Chalet, and the reason that I say this is the player Nath, the IGL, you can see him talking to Kangaroo Kenny there in the middle. He is formerly of M&M Gaming, as are Users and Soltov. Now, M&M Gaming, back in the day, the teams that they were on together, they were known as one of the best, if not the best Chalet team in the world, and Nath IGL'd that team. So he knows his way around this map. Yes, it's a formidable opponent. Yes, they are 1 map down, but if anybody can do it, he can help his team turn this round on this map.
Definitely has to be so if they want to make sure they keep themselves alive in this best of 3 series, still get a point from it. That could be so important in the standings in this group. But the second map is ready. It is Fluke, it's Xenox, it's Chalet.
Yes, it's DarkZero and it's Chalet, as Anne just mentioned, which is a very difficult prospect, you would imagine, for DZ. Losing out 7-3 on Nighthaven Labs, where, look, there were some good signs, but ultimately BDS just looked like the far superior roster that we expect coming into Six Invitational. 82% of you at home expecting BDS to continue their win streak. And that's what it is, Emmy, a win streak, and a pretty large one at that on this very map.
Yeah, I mean, how do you argue with 100% success? Right? It's just that sort of taste of everything. It's their map pick. It's a map that they haven't been beat on. You're coming off the back of losing your map pick. You're coming off the back of losing this map yesterday as well against a different roster in a sort of surprise upset moment here. There couldn't be a tougher moment for them to bounce back. It's not impossible. Nothing is ever impossible, Xenox. Not until it's done, but it doesn't mean it's
Nothing's ever impossible, Emmy.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's
I mean,
really
CAG
hard.
showed that to us yesterday by beating Furia.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Like, that's it's the magic of the tournament. It's the magic of the game. It's the magic of...
The magic of the cup?
It's the magic of the cup. Everybody get involved. But, yeah, 100% success rate, 10-0 throughout the year, at least in the major tournaments and major leagues. I mean, where else do you really go from this moment in time? BDS versus DarkZero. Now, the Deimos and the Blitz both removed. The Deimos was a really continuous aspect of BDS's approach and the pressure that they love to use to just isolate individual fights. I mean, how frequently that Deimos was causing pressure. We saw it used in 1v1s across the bottom of the stairs, even at the end of the game. We also saw it perfectly sort of played as they're here, go kill. You can do that with BDS when they have the synergy that they have.
Yeah. I think that coming into this as Fenrir will be the last one to get banned out. There really is no expectation for DarkZero on this map, but that's probably not a position you want to be in as a professional outfit. Right, like these guys are really, really good players, striving to be the best, striving to win the hammer. They probably want some expectations. They want to feel like they can actually go and beat BDS, especially on this map. This is the kind of map where internally, if you're BDS, if you're those players, if you're Kangaroo Kenny, you've got to be saying, hey, why can't we be the ones to stop this streak? Why can't we beat them on this map? Why, you know, like this is the way you've got to kind of go in with the attitude for the players. The fans will probably be like, oh, well, I'm probably not expecting them to win this one, and rightfully so, as per the social prediction. But for DarkZero, they've got to have that internal belief that they can actually get a surprising result. And there will always be surprising results when it comes to Six Invitationals. We saw yesterday, and we will continue to see. You've just got to back yourself in, have that belief. DarkZero start on the defense here, BDS on the attack, which is where I think they're going to do the vast majority of their damage when it comes to Chalet, like top 2 map when it comes to attacker-sided map in the map pool right now. So BDS on the attack to begin. They should be very confident, very comfortable. This is a map where they're undefeated since I think Leo said EWC last year, which is a very, very long time ago. So it's going to be a difficult prospect for DarkZero, but they've got to be up for it, the task. They've got to at least be competitive. This can't be a 7-0, 7-1 kind of match. If they lose 7-4, 7-5, they can maybe hold their heads high, but ultimately then you get nothing from the game at all. So you've got to go for the win.
So, yesterday, when DarkZero played this, they were able to take 3 rounds on their defense, and then otherwise everything else came up Raza Company. Can they try and push themselves to a bit more success? It was actually only down in the basement that they couldn't get anything else, taking ones in bar, kitchen, and back in bar. And they've opted to start there instead of trying to play one of the more traditional first sites where they went, where they had their sort of limited success. The take over the top, the Blackbeard making their appearance here. Obviously, with changes, they can be the most terrifying point man in the right hands, but at the same time, they've also still got the tradition of watching angles. Good use of the Flores drone, use of removing the back end of the bulletproof, give themselves some options and remove the eyes inside the sights so you can be a bit more of a surprise. The surprise might be just where the first strike comes from. The keeper barricades creating places with bullets, but otherwise still no take. It's just eating through procedural utility here from the side of BDS.
Of course, one of the storylines that developed on Labs was the improved performance from Kobe. This is where it's like, can you have that consistency now? Is it just a one-off? You know, was it just a really stellar performance on Labs, but then back to kind of the median for him? So I'm curious to see, can Kobe bring that same form to Chalet? Can players like Pambazoon and Bolo improve from Labs? So those are the things to look for when it comes to DarkZero. As for BDS, you know, they were pretty much faultless on Labs. All 5 players incredibly performed. EPS levels 110 plus for all 5 players, Emmy. I mean, that is staggering. There were 3 players on the side of TZ that were all below 70, so that's a huge gap in terms of team performances. 60 seconds left as BDS getting their checklist done. And I imagine they're going to start to put the pressure on. One outside of the rappel, big window. Kobe in a very precarious position. One on the window, one down below. Lost his life striker with the opening kill of the round. There was a trade, though, immediately backed by NJR, who is still low on the lesion. But time starts to become somewhat of a factor as users trying to put the shield away temporarily on the Blackbeard. Gets the kill onto what was a low-health NJR. Advantage now for BDS.
Well, the fight happens over the top of the stairs and they scream their way down towards Trophy, and it's a 4 versus 2. They don't really have direct control of anything, but it hasn't really stopped them. A beautiful shot from Bolo on the back line of half wall with Nafe still operating underneath. They're luring them in, but fortunately for them, users had gone a little bit further along Nafe. 20 seconds to hold off. It's not impossible. If he's able to just sort of pip the planter and get a surprise moment here, BDS could fall away. And, well, he sees a Blackbeard, and that's the worst possible person to see. That will read the information. Great take on the first. He's not able to
get his head was showing
the rip of it. I mean, it's easy for us with the outlines. Who knows what he saw, but I want to take us back just a moment. Did he just say... Hang on, did Shaka just say English? Hello there.
Hello there, mate.
I'm so sad that I talked over that by accident. If I knew that was... if I had a time machine, I would go back in time and stop myself from talking over that. But anyway, the first kill came from a player inside the site shooting up through the vertical, right? First of all, how is he in this position and what the hold is and what was known about that? Great opportunity sniffing out by sort of BDS to get the response. But it's also what was going on with Bolo and the run out. He was sort of frequently putting pressure on towards the Blackbeard, hang on the double window, but at the same time, I think it was NJR just sort of rotates in with his back towards the window. And maybe it was to try and buy the player the space to get into that operating. Maybe it was to try and force the player off the rappel, but it just sort of gave users an easier fight, ultimately in the end of it. And, you know, a couple of things I'm a little bit curious about what they were trying to achieve. Well, I have a little OBS medic.
Yeah, I saw that. That's nice. I like to see that. I kind of wish we had easy instead, but medics will do.
Really? You prefer easy to medics?
Absolutely.
The Dutch disappointment over the Croatian sensation?
Yep. The Dutch. He just whispered in my ear. No, I love medics.
Yeah, I mean, I love all of our observers.
Nah, not Sky.
What? Well, he's the Australian one. You're allowed to say that. 2 minutes.
Well, I mean, honestly, with the way that round played out, BDS... Oh, hang on. Let me hold that for a moment.
He was baiting the sound there.
Well, it depends if Nafe wants to get aggressive. It's a good little bait with the Claymore. He's on the Solar, so you can obviously see it full well.
He's being watched above as well. Look to his top right. I'm not sure who that is, but they are eagerly waiting. It's Liquefact is watching that door like a hawk.
Oh, baited, son. You've just been sunned. Nave gets caught, thinks he's got the upper hand on the Solus, knows the Claymore's there. Also knows, because Eustace is on the repel, big window in towards bedroom, he senses that it may not be watching it and putting a lot of faith in that Claymore. Well, he's got more faith in Liquefact to get that kill really nicely executed from BDS, and that's just the difference. They're just playing on a different level.
It's the second time they've been able to get the entry in a row as well. You remove the Solace from what is a pretty familiar bit of run-out territory. And cleanly, as you said, no real contest. The Claymore is still standing after the end of it as well. There is a bit of a slowdown from some of the goo mines, but otherwise, BDS, they've got some light control here. Eyes on towards top of the white stairs itself. There's a full lock on the side of box. They're not really contesting around Ivy. Instead, it's actually Shaiko that, with the LMG, just swings wide, removes Bolo from inside the core of the site itself. Pamba's going to try and step in, but there's sort of a big statement of, I wouldn't do that. He does catch one, but it's the same second. Shaiko gets another kill. There's pressure on the door, and he just walks into somebody else's firefight.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Ah! Ban Blackbeard, I swear.
Ban Blackbeard.
I didn't know I can track with them.
Well, a lot of that round, though, kicks off from the beginning, doesn't it? I mean, it's just
yeah.
a classic case of bait on the Solus. Solus sees the Claymore, senses an opportunity. Liquefact in a good spot, and from there, then they've just got numbers. And unfortunately for DarkZero, it was just a case of basically swinging. They just wanted to get involved in the middle portion of the round. We get the replay there of the beginning kill onto Nate, but at this point onwards, you know, DarkZero, I mean, that's just a sharp kill onto Bolo. Here's another swing, Piano side. You'll see another swing probably later on. This is just a push towards Ego. It's a double swing, in fact. So they're just swinging around on the map simply based on the fact that they sense the pressure from BDS. They feel corralled, and they panic, and then they start moving around, and it's just all too easy. 2-0 start for BDS.
He broke the C4 by meleeing it as it made contact with the shield, I believe.
Ban Blackbeard.
Honestly, quality move. Do you know what is very exciting for a long-time EU caster and a long-time BDS enjoyer is seeing them with this childlike joy of energy. Coming into this tournament with all the pressures that because this roster for the past 4 years, has had the pressure of should they win it? When will they win it? When are they going to? And you could see that it ate at them for a while. They'd be on stage, that even in their biggest moments, feel that weight. And it's not that they weren't enjoying themselves, but the pressure was there. I'm not saying it's not right now, but this sort of almost jovial energy. There's just joy at playing the game.
You like that?
I love to see anyone have a good time playing.
Fangirling.
I just love.
You know what the best thing about being a nosecaster is?
What?
Nothing. Our teams aren't even here.
What do you mean? You've got.
Where's Gaming Gladiators? Where's Chiefs?
Virtue?
Virtue's not a team. He's a player.
Virtue is a movement. But anyway, it's just generally seeing positive, upbeat energy from any team is great. But from a team that, let's be honest, has some of the most pressure on them, it's great for them. Solotov is removed by Bolo, though. And at this point, Kobe is trying to go toe-to-toe across Libraries. Position's been read, though. So instead, I think he's going to try and get himself out of there.
DarkZero need to just try and find a way to slow down this mid-round, and I don't know if it's a case of BDS slowing themselves down or it's just simply the site, but minute and a half, 4v4, it's a little bit better than what we saw from Bedroom. That's just a peek again from Kobe. Wants to try and get information towards Big Window and towards games. Peeks his head, patience from users. I mean, like that's the kind of situation where a Capitao needs to use his utility to clear out bar stock, but he just gets a free kill. Kobe goes for a head look. BDS now have the numbers. DarkZero have to contemplate. Do we take the fight on the roam game still or look to fall back to site? Well, I mean, this is just NJR getting slaughtered from behind. Liquefact just creeping up towards West Main. And Ball over towards Trophy Stairs. They're just all over the place defensively. DarkZero have got numbers around the map, but no one's really playing off each other. You got like one bar stock, one West Main, one Trophy. It's like they're trying to get so much map control, but there's too much spacing, and it's allowing BDS to just kind of slip through the cracks and get themselves into the map. Absolutely commanding here on Chalet. BDS, a strong performance.
I have a working theory about why BDS is so good on this map. on Chalet. Do you want to hear it?
Is it a theory or is it just a fact?
I mean, it's a theory because I'm just making it up, but it might also be a fact because I'm not in their conversations.
Okay.
Once upon a time, obviously, this was technically, in some regard, two different rosters. You have BDS is still BDS, and you have Users and Solotov from ex-M&M. And they were one of the best Chalet teams as well, especially those two. You would go back to, if you roll back to the old videos of them playing on Chalet, they're unstoppable. And you're taking, it's like a super team Superman, almost. Because you have all this great history from both roster sets come together, and it's created art. It's like, what's your favorite fusion of two different cuisines? Or when you make peanut butter jelly, we're in America. It's that, but for Siege.
It's actually peanut butter and jam.
Peanut butter and jam? Yeah, but PB&J sounds more...
Well, you can say PB&J.
Wait a second. I'm like Charlie Day pointing at the board with all the red strings. Wait a second, PB&J is PB&J. But anyway, they find themselves 3 rounds up here. Stress and pressure on towards the side of DZ. They knew it was going to be tough, but 5 kills over the opening 3 rounds. They just have been able to get themselves on towards the trade game. In the meantime, Usus 1 kill off of becoming the reverse James Bond, which is actually better than being James Bond in this game.
I mean, BDS's pacing has just been tremendous. They are setting the tempo with their movement, getting entry kills, getting map control. DarkZero just... They're in the position where they're playing second fiddle. They're having to play catch-up. They're having to base their movements, their positioning on what BDS is doing rather than what they are doing on defense. They're always falling back. They're always getting pushed back. NJR wants to play a certain position. Well, now you find yourself in kitchen. You're not where you want to be. So then things start to get displaced defensively. I mean, BDS are just brutalizing DarkZero on this map. If Nighthaven Labs was a somewhat okay performance from DZ, this is looking like an absolute stomp and really highlighting the difference in class and quality between these two rosters at this event.
Well, there's the first take, and it's on towards Pamba. Bride gets 1, and Kobe's able to shut out Shaiko. Again, good news. They get rid of a big player. He's obviously been able to drive himself into the Flores before, and even when he's got the LMGs. So Kobe starting to activate and operate as he did in the first map will be a good sign and a good tell. BDS circling around onto the large fireplace stairs here, but you can sort of see that they're running the numbers on where to make their approach. I was a bit curious last time we were here because the first line, the first fight was actually just inside the site, up through the vertical. And at this point, it feels like DarkZero keeping a more sort of tighter grasp on the site itself. They're not offering that surprise route through, so BDS is having to run the numbers, try and just prod and pull back and peel away.
Well, don't forget as well, this is a non-hard breach setup from BDS, and it's kitchen and dining, so typically you want to get office opened up to get a bit of that vert, deny the position of DZ. They don't have the ability to actually do that, so that wall's going to stay reinforced. And that's going to provide a lot of cover for DarkZero to maintain top floor control, which is going to make it far more difficult as well for BDS to get inside of, say, kitchen and dining. If BDS are going to win this round, they're going to have to brute force their way to clear out Bolo rather than being able to open the wall up and push him back. But they also still need to go over towards the trophy side if they're going to get the other side all cleared up too. There's a lot to do with only 20 seconds left. Nitrocell not ideal onto Users. For a 4v4 with so little time, this is the kind of round that DarkZero essentially have to win. By finding these kills, they will indeed win. And a bit of a curious case there for BDS in terms of the operator lineup choice regarding the site choice as well. They looked a little bit lost as to how they wanted to actually execute. And that's the one time now that we've seen on Chalet, the first time, I should say, for BDS, where they've looked a little bit lost. A good round from DarkZero, but if I'm going to be completely honest, I felt like it was more to do with BDS kind of just fumbling.
Yeah.
More so than DarkZero doing all too much. Their credit, though, comes in actually punishing the mistake of BDS and being in a good position to deal with the trophy push.
I mean, that's the sort of split, right? What we'd have to compare there is just entirely how they positioned themselves and set up the hold. There was still similarities. You had, obviously, the castle set up, so I think they swapped off Aruni Gates for his army instead to try and maybe be a bit more mobile with the holds. There was, I think, an Ella and a Mute as well. Are these the changes that stop them being able to get the positions open they wanted? Who knows? But there was obviously something there in the BDS approach where, as I said, they didn't have any hard breach, but they also didn't really have an idea of how they wanted to get in.
Yeah.
The fact that the plan that they ended up in was well, let's just try and put some pressure in on West Main and at the same time jump in trophy window. All right, job's done. We've lost the round. It could as much as well be DarkZero having a decent response to how they lost in the first map. That's the job of our analysts, to look over and compare.
Yeah, if there's a round, I don't know if the analysts are listening. Probably not.
not.
Is just probably going and doing push-ups somewhere in his penthouse, but
They always...
that's a round I'd love to see them analyze. I want to get Leo on the telestrator for that round.
We should
Make
be
him
able
work.
Yeah. I mean, what else do they do during these moments, right? Analysts. The cool kids of the talent team. With their leather jackets. I don't know. 2 minutes 20. And it's still early doors for the pressure. Now, BDS usually spend a lot of this time cooking. They're not exactly going for these opening engagements. And to be honest, they're not really being handed them either. You can have some teams that on Chalet especially will like to sort of grow outside of the map
No hard breach again either. Something to just kind of consider because it was a big factor in the previous round. They do have the Montang, so they can have a bit more of that push potential. Double shield in the round. Brede and users. That was a missed smoke.
Oop.
And Liquefact will find an opening kill anyway on to Nave. Just straight in towards Dining on the Docker feed. Drop down in towards Wine. And that's a good yellow ping information there on the drones. DarkZero under pressure early, despite the fact they were finally able to get a round win on Kitchen and Dining. They go up above to Bedroom and Office and find themselves once again under an immense amount of pressure.
Yeah, Kobe made entirely the right decision there. You could see he was sort of holding on for as long as possible, but the fact that he was concerned about the bottom of the stair set, there were players on the windows droning him out, and the damage came from the double window all the way across through the angle from the back end. As he was being beat by Shaiko, I mean, he couldn't sit around and see what would happen next. Brede on the Monty wants to try and make their way up, but they seem to actually be battling back and forth. They need someone to offer some support. The Blackbeard is still getting some damage done as Pamba is the next to be forced and shepherded away, and they're not even trying to convert the kills, I say, as Brede.
I mean, that's just Kobe being in a very difficult position. He's got pressure on the balcony outside, and then you still have to deal with the pressure on the inside. So he was kind of just caught in a crossfire. He needed to try and get out of that spot earlier. Had he done so, could have kept himself alive, put more pressure back onto BDS, but he was the one under an immense amount of pressure. Bolo, a nice kill, but it's probably all for naught. Brede's going to be able to get the plant down safely inside a bedroom. Now it's a 3v1 in the post plant. Shaiko puts an end to the round pretty quickly. Well worked from BDS with the double shield setup. Easy solar control to get the plant in towards bedroom, and no real counterplay from DarkZero.
There was one part of that where there was a bit of creativity that came through. Obviously, we talk about how awkward the positions were. Nothing is more obvious than when one of the DarkZero players, to hold the angle that they wanted to and feel safe, had to go outside the building, was outside of the bathroom window, trying to hold the cross angle back inside. The reveal of the position was coming out, but that was all the space that they really had at that point. If he tried to rotate his way back towards Piano, he would have been cut off by that angle. If he tried to push further in, he would have been cut off. So, yeah, that is what happens when you just run out of room. I'm wondering if it was there. Entirely that. He couldn't go anywhere else. And it was just claustrophobic. It was just a choking sort of hold and take by BDS.
I think a big reason why that was so successful for BDS as well is because Liquefact just walks into Dining at the beginning of the round, gets a free kill, and from there you lose trophy side pressure from down below. So you think about those shields pushing into Solar. Well, if you've got a player that can flank, say, trophy stairs going up into Solar, you can put some pressure behind them. So they're going to be a little bit more careful when they push forward, less likely to be able to just stand there and pull out your pistol and kill Kobe inside a bathroom, for example. So, yeah, BDS are just absolutely flexing their muscles onto Chalet, 4-1 lead. Really not a surprise on the attacker side. You can see the Brava come out with the clutch drones, trying to find some of these EDDs as Nafe will get onto the cap can. This is the kind of round that I'd like to see from DarkZero. Bar games, there's not a lot you could really do. It's very defaulty positions.
Yeah.
Can they find a way, though, to just throw a spanner, just a little trick here or there to just keep BDS guessing, whether that's a roam, whether that's a lurker. If you keep it completely default, BDS will be able to deal with it really too comfortably. So you're going to have to do something different here.
Well,
and that might be Pampazoo on the Vigil.
I mean, at this point, they're sort of playing a tougher game than they were yesterday. As I said before, 3 of the rounds that they got on this map were all on defense. They can't make that happen again. They have a full read on Ella. She might not know the dangerous situation she's about to walk in. They also have the read on Capcan, and Liquefact isn't that far away. Nafe It's back and forth. We've seen these two players trade the entry statistic, and I think it's all gone into Likifac's favor, but he's sitting, waiting patiently. Who are they wanting to push? Is it NJR? Or they want Bolo to drop off the rafters, hit the hatch, and be caught?
The 4 members of DZ need to play default, except for Pambazu. Pambazu needs to just hold bedroom, wait for the push from BDS towards the piano side, looking to push library corridor, hallway, and then Pambazu can get the flank from behind. The goal, obviously, on the Vigil is to not get spotted. They have to not be aware of his position. That's going to aid in the flanking potential later in the round. Likifac coming from down below, but yeah, DarkZero need to just hold their key positions, keep bar stock control, keep mezzanine control, and allow Pambazu to be the hero later in the round. You cannot be losing players early, though, on bar games. Still a minute remaining, so much time. Pambazu needs to get involved.
I mean, he's being called. He's round the back, and a great bit of motion there from the Vigil, but Shaiko and Bolo and Nave are actually all able to win out their own personal engagements. It leaves us in the 2 versus 3, but the site is actually currently being controlled by BDS. They're going to see if they can get a plant down as the hatch is
Someone's watching
There's
it.
nobody here to try and directly stop it at this point. It's going to turn into a post-plant retake, and it's a bit awkward. They fight their way out the window, and they're trying to win the engagement somehow. Brede gets the exchange on towards the side of Pamba now, and it's a post-plant with a 2 versus 1. Brede!
Wow.
He's just ripping his way out. We've always known him to have huge clutch potential, but what a moment there. Pulls the kit down, fights his way up and out of the room. Bolo is caught on mud. And I mean, for all the compliments of Brede, you do have the question marks for DarkZero.
You had a player fireplace stairs, a player mezzanine, and I think still Pamba on the roam, eventually looking to get himself into library. Not one player in bar stock, no one watching default at the half-wall the game's pushing. Like, you've got it to a 3-on-2, under a minute left. Get to the site. Just stop them from being able to do the only win con they have, which is get the plant. They played this quite well, Emmy. I mean, I mentioned the Vigil at the start for Pambazu. And the middle portion of the round, DarkZero did what they needed to do and executed it. But when it came to the end of the round, 3-on-2, under a minute left, fall back. You've lost players on site. You don't need fireplace stairs. You don't need the mezzanine anymore. Just go and defend the ability for BDS to get the plant down, and you will win the round. Instead, like, they just walk into games, plant and walk out.
It's frustrating for the side of DarkZero. You knew it was going to be tough, but they're almost creating more problems for themselves there. And you can see, they're having to take these risky plays, and it's just not coming together here. I mean, BDS have 3 maps that they haven't lost for a year, or whatever Alfama's statistic was. This is one of them. This is why.
I think the biggest thing for me, I mean, I'm not American, so I'm not an NA fan, but what I would be disappointed is you did a lot right. That's when we get disappointed in our sports teams. When you do a lot right, but then the finish is where you just kind of stumble at. That's where it's like, oh man, like come on. We did so much right in that round, and we don't get the round win. There's could have been a 4-2 half, DC going to the attack-slanted map. Could have been a completely different storyline, but now at 5-1, BDS are well and truly in command. Likifac, that was a little bit lackadaisical with the swing around the doorway. Free kill for Kobe. DarkZero will get themselves an early attacking kill.
It's a decent amount of pace here applied by DarkZero. They're not wasting any time getting into the second half of this map. They've put the pressure on instantly on towards Likifac. Up top, there was a force down the side of blue there for Shaiko to just get out of there. And, well, they've now been able to wrest themselves some control of the territory here. There is still a lot of potential of slowing. Obviously, the Goyo canisters long since placed. 2 more C4s ready to rip and let loose on towards the soft bores of Fireplace, or even if they try to sneak in a plant, we have more than one hard breach option here from the side of DarkZero. They have more options. Do they know about Shaiko? He's returning his way up, gets one, and he's able to escape as well. There's a player on his tail, but he can't quite net the kill. Kobe wasn't quite able to get revenge there. Pamba is traded out. Just Shaiko. I said that they'd force them down for the opportunity. I forgot that they had the ability to sniff themselves right back up when they had a free moment. It did seem like they had some awareness as well, but, you're going into a sort of flat engagement. He finds NJR. Was that through the vertical? And I agree with the reaction there, NJR. It's frustrating. But at this point, a minute on, now BDS have the body advantage. They have the close shotgun. It's a risky angle to peek against it. The blinds come out. Usus isn't going to sit around. but he is happy to move right back into the turf that's actually pulled away from it. They used the cover of the noise to get out of there.
I mean, the issue here, though, is that with so little time remaining and BDS still having the numbers, yeah, that's exactly what they needed at that exact point in time. Big kill from Bolo evens things up going into what will be the final 30 seconds of this round. It feels like a must-win for DarkZero. Otherwise, at 6-1, it's a long way to come back from. You've got to get your opportunities when they are presented to you, and this is certainly a round in which they've still got a good chance. Bolo at second, opening up the site now, making things a little bit more comfortable for DarkZero. Naif will help out as well, gets involved, leaving just Solotov by himself, spotted and finished off from Bolo. 3 huge kills from Bolo to get DarkZero that round. 5-2, this one's not done yet.
I mean, Bolo has been an intense factor for the team.
It should be 4-3. Like, that's the thing. It should be 4-3.
But you have to give credit there. It was decent read on positions. Obviously, as I said, an explosive start from the side of DarkZero. Shaiko does Shaiko things. Suddenly they lose the body advantage. But then there's that. That was the take. He was frustrated about this is the first that he gets, the fleeing Brede, the perfectly timed drop there as well. They got the reveal from the intel of the drone, the coverage that came across, and DarkZero's motion so tight, so together when they needed to make the operation. It was almost the opposite. When they couldn't stick the landing last time round on their defense, that was a perfect sort of 10.
I mean, that's the issue with Basement on Chalet and why a lot of teams play the roam game in the early portion of the round. It's so difficult to actually get trades as the defense. You got one near bin, one over towards blue hallway, one in towards wine. Can they really connect with each other? Not really. So then if you're a DarkZero and you can push as a 2-1 split, use your numbers, overwhelm each position one by one, it becomes quite easy. And that's exactly what they were able to do at the end of the round. It didn't look like they were rushed. They actually looked like they played the time quite well. Bolo obviously hit some really critical shots. You know, 40 seconds left, you know, you're down a player, bam, big kill. All things tied up. You drop, you hit, you get the next kill. Suddenly you've got the numbers and then you can overwhelm the defense. So certainly a better round for DarkZero. And again, I think the way that I would classify this series is they've looked fine, but they just keep making too many mistakes compared to their opponent.
Well, NJR is able to get rid of Solotov, and the Nook is already eyeing up the site, but instead would prefer the kill. The Solace was on the track of the gadget tree, but with users getting Naif, they at least aren't entirely bleeding out. Here's easy. Great start, and users trying to buy himself some time, but how long until Bolo continues the tear he's been on?
It's just fine. You can slow things down. You don't have to just keep sending it. It's bark games. You've got a player advantage. BDS can no longer get all of the control power positions. You just don't have the numbers. You want one bar stock, probably one over on the bar side of things as well. Then technically Mezzanine up above as Shaiko goes for a roam, I think seeking to try and get the numbers back into a stable position for BDS. Instead, he walks into Pampasu on the Nook, and suddenly this is a round in which DarkZero should very well win. It's 4v2. BDS can only play one in bar stock, one in Mezzanine. So one on the first floor, one on the second floor. They are completely separate. Users and Brede can't trade each other, but Users goes for a vault out from Mezzanine to front entrance, kill onto NJR, and almost got the kill onto Kobe, who does have the kit, falls back and plays site. And just like that, a little bit more hope in the round now for BDS. That's a huge power play from Users.
There was a player that was around the top of blue as well that didn't really go for an immediate sort of reaction on towards that fight. They didn't want to risk the engagement, risk losing another body to it. It was a huge gamble from Users. But when you are 5-2 up in this sort of situation, gambles are what makes the difference. Now, with a minute, on the site where the last time there was a 2 versus X situation,
well, they're on the site,
BDS
though.
pulled it out, exactly. And that's the worry right now. This is where DarkZero, I said they were a much improved landing on their attack on the previous round. They've got to see if they can try and make it happen.
They're double stacking into bar stock. This is wonderful. I mean, this is literally the opposite of what DarkZero did on this previous defense for them, where they had one fireplace, one Mezzanine, no one inside of bar stock. Bolo goes down temporarily to the frost mat inside of Mudroom. Will get himself out, but is debuffed for the remaining 30 seconds of this round. Kobilax on the glass, trying to find one through the smoke. Gets a kill onto Brede. 3 in the round, making a quad now from Users in a 1 versus 1 against the hampered Bolo. Users looking to find the ace to get them into a match point round. And as it stands, Bolo doesn't seem like he has an idea as to where Users may be. Swings around, pistol wins it.
A tremendous effort from users with a 4K, but the pistol from Bolo clears out nicely. Another round for DarkZero here on Chalet, and they are fighting tooth and nail to stay alive in this match.
Okay. For me, we can go kitchen, and we play full trap around set. Okay.
Kitchen and full trap.
Yeah, okay. I mean, all right, the two things I want to say about that round and that ending especially. One, Bolo, I said it at the start of the round, he is that X factor right now for DarkZero. He's getting these impact kills. He's getting these impact moments. He's also seemingly the drive in those firefights. And yeah, it's what he does so well, but also he's doing it so well right now. He's keeping them fighting. But two, if Users has pulled off that ace, including jumping out of the building, that might have been one of the most ridiculous aces I think I've ever seen.
That would have been a total capitulation moment for DarkZero. I mean, this was a 4-on-2 round. They probably should have won it more comfortably. It comes down to a 1 versus 1. Again, highlights the quality. That is BDS. All 5 players. You could trust all 5 players to be in that position of users. It doesn't matter who it is on BDS, whether they get the 4K or 5K, whether they're the solo, whether they're the clutch. That's the beauty of this roster. It's not like, oh man, I wish it was X player in this position. You can back users in there, and this is just such a ballsy play in that moment where it was 2 versus 4. NJR's like, what is this guy doing? Gets a kill, comes back to site, they double stack it towards Barstock, and users then gets himself into the quad position. Bolo did have an idea roughly as to where users was going to be. Pistol shot, and he knew he was obviously quite low.
Sorry, that was just that. I really hope socials take the screenshot of Kangaroo Kenny screaming at Bolo over the shoulder, because that feels like a template.
It just, to me, has the vibe, though, of the kind of series where we're going to walk away from this and people are going to be like, oh, DZ were better today. Better than their match against Razar.
Yep.
They had good moments, and if they, you know, as people like to say, oh, if they play like this tomorrow or, you know, against X team, they'll do better. But
You play the
at the end of the day, it's going to be a 0-2 start in group stage if they can't win this.
It's entirely it. You have to play the game in front of you. You play against the teams in front of you. You'll go away sort of frustrated. And you said it before, like when you play great and you still lose, it's frustrating to sort of be amongst that. It's frustrating to sort of be the one sort of behind that. And, you know, regardless of who it's against, no one here wants to lose, and anyone could potentially win. We've already seen it yesterday of big underdog sort of victories and showings. But here, now with, what was it, a trapped lineup that was called from the side of BDS. You have some of the slows, the Ella, the Banshee of Malusi. He doesn't quite get as much play as they did once upon a time. Castles and his armies to try and stretch out those Keybers. We'll see if there is something they can use. Obviously, ban Blackbeard was the call of Liquefact. Let's see if DarkZero, I suppose, can prove why it wasn't. They're inside and above, trying to find a fight with Liquefact. Kobe on the Blackbeard is tucked into a corner. He's in a bit of an awkward spot, but he's able to win out the first and the second. Kobe! Huge pair of kills there on the top floor. Rest control. Bolo finds Solotov after the single frag they got, and we are in, I mean, the previous round once again. Users and Bride, all that's left, trying to hold on. Users gets none this time, just kept on double dipping, and Bolo, he's leaving a little bit of bait here. The man has gone fishing for a Frenchman, and he's hoping.
The pacing from DarkZero in this half has been honestly quite incredible. Going up against BDS, that's the thing. It's because of their opponent as well as they finish off the round, this time in emphatic fashion.
Come on!
Kenny is absolutely pumped. And as he should be. I mean, this is a really good fight back from DZ, because don't get it twisted. We go back to the end of that first half where they fumbled on bar games. DZ should have won that round. And had they won that round, they would be leading now 5-4. Instead, they're down 5-4. So I think that when you kind of take that into account, they're right in this game. And it's a very winnable map on a map that has a large streak attached to it for BDS. Wonderful double kill moment from Kobe. He understood the pressure on the player in bathroom, but then you have to switch adjust for that second kill coming around the side of that keeper barrier. And that takes some incredible reflexes. 5-4. BDS have already taken their timeout, led by Bolo, who's 11-5. The rest now starting to make an impact, and we've got a map. BDS getting pushed on Chalet by DarkZero. At one point, what was it, 5-1?
5-1. I mean, imagine the position that you're in as well, right? A legend becomes a legend because of all of the people they've beat beforehand. A dragon kills thousands of knights that comes up to them. If you are the one knight that then goes and beats that dragon against their 100% success rate,
Yeah.
that is a legendary moment.
Well,
that is a big uplift.
Speaking of 100% success rate as well, intriguing stat here, but so far throughout all 9 rounds, the attacking team has found the opening kill. That's from the first half of BDS. They got 6 in a row, now 3 in a row for DarkZero. I've said it now, so I imagine BDS.
I mean, Shaiko tried to, but he's instantly pulled back, and look at
Is
this.
this just going to be a breach? Rosh
I mean,
towards basement, and it will be. Smoke goes out. Bride does stop that little attacking opening kill streak by getting the kill onto Bolo, but it does matter not, because the plant goes down successfully, and DarkZero are able to find kills in that moment while the plant was going down. BDS were rushing back to site, but could not stop it. And NJR on the glass has already found one, and can certainly do more damage here.
I mean, what a cacophony of noise here. You just gets caught out by the glass, the cover. NJR has it locked in. There's a bit of a, I mean, too deep of a dive, but look how far back they are watching it. The Monty's on one shoulder. They have a player all the way deep, and they're trying to bait the engagement, but that's not
Kobe's
the man you need to watch. There's one round on the back of Kobe. We're all tied up, Xenos.
Yeah, I mean, that's good positioning from Kobe to just offer the double down, making sure that they can get the pinch onto those players pushing in towards the site. So a really well-worked set play from DarkZero. They had a goal, a mission, and accomplished it. Breach, rush, smokes go out, get the plant down, play off the glass. It's not exactly an unknown strategy. We've seen it before, but they've executed it really well. And then to bunker it down with the positioning, Kobe gets in towards Fireplace at the very end. They get the pinch. This is a bit of a rush from Bolo, but he's kind of just there to take pressure off the planter anyway.
Exactly. That was the whole role that he's playing there. They all played their part perfectly, and you've got to give it to DarkZero. I mean, you know, rushes are risky to take. They're terrifying. I mean, you cannot doubt.
That much yelling.
I like how, so there was conversations about Kobe joining the roster that sort of Lax and Fox brought up, where it was, you know, having somebody that was huge and uplifting in personality and sort of presence and voice was great for the team. Even when things were going wrong in Montreal, Kobe was always very, you know, happy and upbeat and sort of having a bit of fun with it. And there were questions of like, oh, is it going to be great here? And then they've got Kangaroo Kenny, a man who I think all of Boston can hear right now. But to be honest, if you were the team coaching, the team that could take BDS's sort of immunity from them on Chalet, you would be screaming as well. 5-5. They're not quite there yet. And it's the tough, tricky rounds they still have to do. And there is obviously still a third map after this. But
Well, this is the map though, right? That is the hurdle.
yeah,
If you win this, you break that BDS streak on Chalet. I mean, Cafe is very much winnable. 5-5. BDS have allowed 4 rounds in a row to go the way of DarkZero. It has been an attacking onslaught. So far, only 1 round that a defending team has won. Back in the 4th round, Kitchen Dining, when DarkZero were able to get at least 1. So far, that 1 is proving to be enough.
the smoke cover, the important breach there on towards Prep as they make this position tricky for play for the side of Breed. I don't know if it was removed from above. It sounds like it, no, they just can't get the mute jam at first. A lot of utility. Whoa! Wow! I mean, it's a great take. You know somebody's there trying to stop you get that removed, but what a swing there. What a body to take. Solotov unfortunately just been shut out.
Well, this is where BDS will start to feel the pressure now, and they want to go searching and hunting to get themselves back into an even man count. And this is where DarkZero need to be prepared for that. There's enough time. They can be patient. You can see it from Kobe on the roof, just watching the window, sensing that BDS need to get one back. Otherwise, they're not going to have the numbers to defend the site. One still tucked into the corner on Library. Not a good position where you want to be this late into the round. You can get cleared out. That drop looking a little bit tantalizing, thinking, I just want to get out of here. There's the flames. Users up in flames, but he does make the drop successfully, albeit losing a lot of health.
I mean, that's sort of it, right? That he survives. The most important part right now. He's been one of the sort of standouts. He almost ace-clutched around earlier on. It could have been a very different game here, but there's two more. Again, Brede and Users in a 2 versus X, but there's at least one extra. Will we get a flawless here?
Flawless.
Yes, we will! DarkZero from 1 to 5 to 1 round away from taking this map. Unbelievable.
Oh, Kenny is embodying all of the North American fans right now with his energy. Match point, DarkZero against BDS here on the second map. And that map being Chalet, that map being a 10-0 streak. That map may be about to be broken by DarkZero after what was a pretty comfortable Nighthaven Labs. 7-3 for BDS coming into this particular Chalet, going 5-1 up. Emmy, this is the last thing I expected. But we're getting it. 6-5, 5 rounds in a row now from DarkZero. They're on a bit of a heater. They're all playing well too. I mean, Bolo's kind of leading the way, but we've seen some good plays from Pambazoo. We've seen some great plays from Kobe. I mean, Pambazoo on the Vigil was a big factor. Kobe, 5 plays there's big factor. NJR, Naif, both playing their roles as well. So you've got all 5 players on DZ that are doing a tremendous job right now. Got to finish it off though. Cannot allow BDS to get in towards OT, of which they've got attacker side OT.
I said it before, I love watching people play Siege and having a good time. Exactly the same right now. Look at the energy from this DarkZero compared to where it was. Even compared to how it was yesterday throughout a lot of the series as well. They are coming alive. And it is just transforming them here. Now, obviously, Bolo still having a massive map, but all of them are stepping themselves in here. All of them are pretty much close to positive. And yesterday, there was only really 2 players that were popping off on a map, 2 players that were getting involved.
Well, I mean, and Bolo's doing it without doing it on the entries. There's actually 0-1 on entry. Remember yesterday, he was 8-1, so he's not doing it in that department. Kobe's actually the one, of course, playing that secondary entry role, and he's doing it, but it's only 2-2. So the entries have still been mostly in favor of BDS, which actually kind of highlights, again, how well DarkZero are actually doing, where they're not winning in all facets, but 144 EPS right now from Bolo. Yeah, he is the man. Match point round. They'll only get the one opportunity. Otherwise, if BDS win it, we go to overtime here on Chalet. They've got the attacker side of it as well. It could either be a massive upset, or it's just a bit of a fright for BDS, but they eventually get the job done. It's one or the other, and we'll see if DarkZero can send us to Cafe here for what will be the final round of regulation.
Well, from this first fight, this first engagement is probably the most terrifying for either of these teams right now. BDS said they felt like the pressure wasn't on. They'll be feeling it more than any other round throughout this series so far. They've been so close multiple times here, and as the approach starts to come above the top of Solotov, who hasn't really been able to get his teeth stuck into his opponents as of yet. Really the only person that has a bit of a divide between his kills and his deaths. He's trying to not beat that first bit of focus. The calls come out, the pressure around the top of Ivy. It's a fight against Users here, but there is Shaiko getting NJR. There is a trade. Back for Brede against Pamba. They keep the body advantage. Solotov pops up and gets the end of Naif. They've been able to spring a bit of a trap here. BDS.
Oh, boy. Down to the Master and the Apprentice, Bolo and Kobe. Still tied, 50 seconds. Bolo does get one. That might just alleviate the pressure, especially for someone like Kobe, who could sense the moment might be a bit of a prospect. But hey, now it's made easier. They can go and get the diffuser. Plenty of time to grab this, pick it up, go for now a bit of a pivot. 2v3 is not impossible by any means, but it's going to take a master performance here, essentially led by Bolo, because Kobe's going to have to play that shield far more on the Blackbeard than, say, the gun.
My big worry right now is 2 C4s, and Gumine's still potentially out and about. Just one of those with 20 seconds is going to be devastating to any of their approach and their chance to play with the plant. Bolo accidentally opens up chat, I believe, and that's the worst time for that. The Elemines as well, but the C4, I said it. It was always the threat on the board, and they had 2 chances to net that. They get themselves to OT, but you can see it. It's not done yet.
GTWQ, what apostrophe dash.
Listen, you guys just don't understand that. You don't understand the wavelengths that Bolo works on. You know, you just don't get it.
Well, look, for all of the hype from this DarkZero comeback, down 5-1, they get themselves a match point round. It's a bit of a fizzler, isn't it, Emmy, to go now into overtime at 6-6. BDS, double attack overtime, does put them back into the driver's seat. DarkZero had an opportunity, squandered. Great opening kill. Shaiko onto NJR, shuts down the Dockerby, so you lose that logic bomb, you lose the entry help, and then everyone just started falling like flies, and Liquefac to end regulation with an explosion.
Do you think the decision to be on attack here or be on defense here, even from the side of, I assume DarkZero, as the classic is, you know, you don't choose your half.
Well, this was chosen by BDS.
BDS, I mean, you know, it's sort of that trade up here.
They get to choose OT because obviously DarkZero gets to choose side to begin. Attack for BDS, which has been, well,
I mean,
without saying, if you've been watching, you know attack decided here on Chalet.
It's 10-2 on the side of attack right now, and that decision from the side of BDS, I think, it's a bit of a sigh of relief of, oh good, we're back here.
Well, so they're going to play Pampazoo on the Vigil again once more on the Games Bar setup. The issue with a setup such as this is, again, I think BDS will be very much aware of it. How do you counter it? You can go for a solo side push, so you're essentially pushing that roamer back towards the site with you, while also making inroads, you know, through Office, through Piano. And then what you can do is have someone on the library balcony to put pressure into library. So BDS will be a little bit more split on the attack here, but I think that they will deal with Pampers. I think they'll put more stock into the Vigil this round. And so maybe that's why Kobe's doubling down on the alibi as well. He's putting his presence over towards that solar side, holding in towards bathroom. Pampers on the first floor now, roaming dining. So this is a bit of a different setup from DarkZero rather than a conventional one. And with that, Nape will get the opening kill onto users. He too roaming about around the map. And now you can pull it all back if you want. You've got that player advantage.
It's entirely what I was going to say, because remember the last time we were here, well, they didn't win this site. This isn't their one defensive round.
Well,
it's the one that they should have. Exactly. So instead of going to that one site where they're like, look, we have the victory, let's go to the one where we were close. BDS, they might anticipate us to do something slightly different. We know we can change that into a win. The first is that entry statistic. They lose the Blackbeard. How important, how powerful it was to now being gone, being knocked out of it. Users was having a screamer at the start of it, almost with the ace clutch round, and since then, I believe has been shut out pretty much continually here. In a minute 10 BDS, and they're trying to get themselves in and above the site itself. The first fight might come onto the side of Ivy here. The drones are making their way around, and Kobe is the one on blue stairs with Nafe, Pamba, and Bolo all aggressively around the side. Kobe's caught as he tries to get out of there, but not before Bolo's able to find Liquefac.
No flank potential here from DarkZero because they got that early kill. They all fell back, 5 stack towards site. Still top floor control, Nafe in towards library, but everyone else around bar and bar stock here. 40 seconds remaining. What can BDS do with the numbers disadvantage?
I mean, they've got the players down inside stock.
Amber caught.
They had one less player now, a 3 versus 3.
Nafe's still in library though. They haven't cleared him. They may not be aware of his position.
Well, he might be able to activate on towards Breeday. Breeday's the one with the kit. He's above the hatch. And if they don't know about Nafe, if Nafe can get the hatch cold, that might be the win condition entirely. He just has to operate, activate at the right time. Does he know? Solotov and Shaiko, he is waiting patiently.
He's on
the move. He's on the fight onto Breeday. It's cold. Breeday is down inside the site. They have the Overwatch on the kit itself. A triple for Nafe. And once again, DarkZero, they get themselves on towards this map round.
Look at that smirk. Nafe knows full well, outplays BDS. Good little hold in towards library. You do not understand, Emily, how easy it is to get antsy and just want to start moving around when you're holding that position. You've got so many thoughts in your head. If I go early here, I catch them off guard, I help out my team. What happens if I sit here for too long and my team just dies and I'm by myself? Then it's too little too late. You have to time it perfectly, and it's literally the moment as Brede is looking to go down the hatch, Nafe starts swinging around the corner, and coupled with Bolo, they get the kill. Kit's on the floor, very little time left. Nafe is the only one on elevation of both teams. DarkZero once again with match point, and it is entirely deserved. That is a much better defensive performance on Bar Games than last time. Look at Kenny towards Nafe. He's like, you did it, good job.
Kenny is like...
Give me that. They're having fun, and that's great to see.
Yes, exactly.
But they've got to get this job done. Otherwise, it'll be so deflating for them if they can't finish it off. And I will say, if they can win this map, it gives them so much of a boost of confidence that going into Cafe, it's anyone's game.
You join that sort of list on being able to take a map off of BDS.
Yep.
You are on
8
your
games, could be 9.
You're on your own list now. If you win this, of being the team that beat this BDS roster on Chalet, that nobody else is on throughout this year or whatever it is. How special a list that is.
Now, for BDS here, they're going to go Snow Wine. They're going to play a roam game. They're going to probably anticipate that DarkZero won't go the rush play that they did last time, which was successful. So because of that, they will feel as if we can beat them in that roam battle. We're going to force DarkZero to take the fights with us rather than play that set play rush. Obviously, they'll have preparations for it. You've got Solotov towards Fireplace Stairs. You've got Bride on the Kaid, so you can't do the rush. Nor have DarkZero opted to go for it, though. So we will get a very different Snow Wine this time between these two with BDS on the defense.
And Liquefac is playing the position that users usually occupied at this point. Instead, they're trying to hold off with the goo mines for as long as possible, but the pressure is coming in
Gotta drop.
quick and fast, yeah. Because any later, and that probably would have been his name on the wrong side of the kill box in the top right. Gets himself the route out of the prep in towards the site. If he opts to take it, they've pulled themselves generally back towards the site itself as the top floor becomes under the control of DarkZero, but there's still a bit of a distance to go at this point. Kobe concerned of a potential rotate round the back, which could be operated by users who's hanging around on the wrong side of the map. They have some pings and some idea. I'm wondering if they're going to try and shut him down first over here, or if he's going to realize the pressure's coming as well and pull himself down in towards West Main. There's the motion, there's the fight. He's opted to stay to his back to the wall, and Naif gets the users at 2 Blackbeard. Should be banned.
Yeah.
And maybe DarkZero.
If he wasn't a Blackbeard, he'd be dead. Users with a great pre-fire, and then he's like, oh no. And then immediately dives to Nave. Advantage, DarkZero. Not just in this round, but of course in the map itself. Can they close this out with an 8-6 victory to stop the BDS streak on Chalet? Down to 4 for BDS into the final minute. They start to make their way back towards basement. Everyone inside of Snow Wine. Solotov still towards Blue Hallway has a Nitro Cell. Bride still has a Nitro Cell. So there's still good utility on the defense for BDS, but DarkZero just look like they are on a heater, playing with confidence, playing with exuberance. There's that Nitro Cell, and they cannot get away in time, and Pamber falls with him too. Just like that, BDS with the advantage.
Now, what can they do with 20 seconds? NJR gets Shaiko and Kobe gets Liquefac. The balance instantly swaps back round. It's blind, and Solotov gets one at Bride for his 3rd polo. We have sung and screamed his praises, but not quite this round. We are going all the way.
Oh, you get this wonderful kill onto a superstar like Liquefac. You throw out the flash, you want to clear Blue Hallway, but you go a little too early. You are full white. Easy kill from Blue Hallway. BDS start to then win the next couple of battles, and we go to round number 15. Timeout. DarkZero, they've had already 2 opportunities to close out against BDS, and they have squandered both of them, and they must now do it once again on defense. That's going to make it oh so difficult. A squandered opportunity. Bolo 15 and 8. But so far, it could all be for nothing if BDS close it out here in the 15th round. But what a performance from BDS, because it feels like every time that their back is against the wall, they have the answer. And that's why they are a championship team, just well without the championship.
I mean, the comparison between the two teams is it's so narrow. You have 2 players on each team on 7 kills, 7 to 11 or 7 to 10.
Yeah.
Then you've got, Kobe's on 9, Bride's on 10.
Bolo's the one that's really separating everyone
Exactly.
in the lobby for both teams.
And he's that sort of distance. He's a couple of kills ahead of Shaiko, but Shaiko is still on 12 or 13 kills or whatever it is. Like, he's so neck and neck.
If anything that you want to take away from this is that for DarkZero, this is what they can do when they're all playing in sync and they're following the set game plans. We've seen some really good set plays from them, but they also still have the ability to adapt and maybe play away from that. Whereas for BDS, we're kind of still getting what we expect from them.
Yeah.
You know, like that they're not surprising us as much as maybe say a DZ. 7-7, second map. Of course, for those maybe who missed the opening map, it was a pretty comfortable affair. 7-3 on Labs by BDS.
It was a different series.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane.
This is why best of threes are best of threes and why we don't need best of ones. Yeah.
We love best of threes. I mean, kudos to DarkZero, because not only did they suffer that first map, this game was 5-1 at one point.
Attacker side of Chalet, so I kind of understand it.
But remember how we got to 5-1. It was a little bit sad.
It was a bit bumpy.
So to come back internally from that to here without using their timeout until now, huge kudos for the sort of mental resilience and the rebuilding of the roster. But now it is a best of one at this point, a single round. And if BDS take it, the series is done, and all DarkZero walk away with today is 0 points for not even getting to the third map.
So Snowwine, Roam from DarkZero, Pampazoo on the Mozzie's going to sit top floor library side. Bolo around kitchen. You've got games for Kobe. Got a pretty standard kind of defense right now from DZ. BDS have got a couple of hard breaches with the Ace, the Thermite. I imagine eventually they're going to kind of rotate around, get breach opened up, and then once they've got the breach opened up, they'll rotate off once again, so they want to put that on-site pressure. I think BDS are going to play a pretty kind of default final round here, where they're just going to back themselves in and just being the better team between the two of them. How did DarkZero then offset that? They're going to have to play some lurk, off-angle rolls, catch BDS off guard in certain areas over the next 40 to 50 seconds, and then really that can dictate what the final minute's going to look like.
Flashes back towards Bolo. He's not blinded by it.
But that's what he's trying to do. He's just trying to be a nuisance.
And JR pops his way up just the bottom of the stairs of West Main, takes care of Liquefac. And what a blow for your opening. We talked about the hard breach chain. Well, they've lost half of that throughout this, but most importantly, they've lost that vocal lead voice for the team itself. A minute 20. They flood their way in towards the top of blue. They're making their way across the top floor, and the C4 doesn't quite get the full bite of Solitov, but Pamba, he's not going to be punished for the back end of it. He's able to get himself into a little bit more of a powerful position. There's the catch, though! Pamba picks up as free Solitov. And now Shaiko
play
has
side.
to
You can play side. This is where 60 seconds left, 5v3. Everyone back to side if you can. Pampa can't. He was stuck bar stock. Really good cover from Shaiko to know that the retreat back for Pampazoo was always going to be a difficult one. So that's an opportunity to get a kill. He gets it, kills him. 3v4, 40 seconds left. And look at the huddle. 3 towards blue hallway. Nafe over towards 5 play stairs. DarkZero are holding on for dear life.
It's not even the huddle, it's the guns as well. It's just a wall of shotguns, and the first, though, is the one that isn't. There's Nafe popping it on the back end. Breeday has to find 4 kills to lock it out here in map 2.
Look at him. That is a huddle.
I mean, it's just all shotguns as well. It's a nightmare. You are walking into a firing range and you get one, but BDS, they bleed. They can be defeated. DarkZero, the difference, the factor, the performance. Unbelievable.
The streak is broken. DarkZero cracking BDS's Chalet. 8-7 in one of the maps of the tournament so far. A tremendous effort from DarkZero, but the job is far from done. Cafe still awaits now for the third and decisive map of this series.
Ouais, choc-les, choc-les, ouais, choc-les, 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 ouais, voilà ce qu'ils me disent, les entends parler et ils maîtrisent, j'arrête que pour rafler la mise, petit pas sur la piste, et le succès je l'ai pisté, disque la place du premier, je fais monter la côté, sur moi tu mises gros, tu connais déjà l'équipe, ça criera au complot, je prends le double, on est quitté, je fais la magie des chiffres. La somme je la triple, la concurrence la dribble et le stade est en délire, ça fait choquer, j'arrive pour tous les choquer, toute la foule elle est choquée, j'espère que t'es accroché, gauche, droite, esquive les rageux, coach m'a rajouté du temps de jeu, dans l'action ouais je me sens en feu, je suis on fire, je fais la différence au compteur, money time ça shoot sur le buzzer, je suis on fire, choqué, j'arrive pour tous les choquer, toute la foule elle est choquée, j'espère que t'es accroché, choqué, j'arrive pour tous les choquer,
DarkZero tied the series back up 1-1, and in what a way. At the beginning, it definitely didn't feel like DarkZero were there mentally, but after being down 1 in 5, to turn this map around and win it is absolutely insane. Also, making sure BDS doesn't keep track of this flawless record on this map.
I mean, records are made to be broken. That happened. I think out of the 3-star maps of BDS, this was probably the weakest one.
Oh, really? You think that now, do you, Leo?
Well, if I was looking statistically, it was the one where they had the less win streaks.
Yeah.
I would assume that it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if I can give myself a pat on the back, I did say that Nath obviously knows this map particularly well, and it looked rocky, didn't it? It looked rocky. They were 1-5 down at the split, managing to bring it all the way back to overtime, and then pushing through in overtime into the very final round, round 15, to get it done. And what I will say for DarkZero is if you consider the fact at the point that they were 1-5 down in this map, they'd lost in an upset yesterday against Raza H Company Academy. They weren't playing or looking particularly good. They got absolutely battered in the first game, and it was looking like it was going to head that way against probably the best team in the world. It takes a lot of character. It takes a lot of character at that half swap to then turn things back around and just win out this map and make it a competitive best of 3. So big props to them for that.
There is so much information on the screen right now. 15 rounds, but it tells a big story regarding the entries as well.
Yeah, I think the entries and the attacker rounds. I mean, look at the amount of attacker rounds that are won here. It means that only 3 rounds in defense were won. It was heavily attacker-sided. And the entry kills were instrumental in those because 12 out of 15 rounds, the team that got the opening kill also got the round. It was one of the highest conversion rate of entry kills. And, you know, they were main stakeholder for this. Nath, for example, in the second side of the map, was a big one with 3 entry kills. And he's also the one that saved the day in multiple aspects of the game.
Yeah, there's of course a beautiful moment from that, really turning the pace in their favor in that overtime first round, actually. Those 3 defensive rounds being won, one of those by that huge play from Nath.
Yeah, we mentioned how important winning these defensive rounds were. Look at this, Nath hiding here in library, not getting spotted, will go and backstab Relay as they go for the execute. This is a huge move. At this time, Nath is only 8-8. He gets the injure on the diffuser, and then from the hatch, pressures, get a second pick. Perfect play from him, a third one as well. That was a triple kill. Amazing play from Nath.
People like to call that erratic playstyle. You know, we've seen it time and time again, and people don't like it necessarily because they don't think it's pure. What I say to that is I think that is very effective. When you need a play to happen, it's perfect. You know, it punishes the other team. Ultimately there, BDS had not droned Nath out of that position, and that library area is a very, very key position when you're attacking onto the Bar Games bomb site. They didn't drone him. He had devastating effects by flanking them.
That is top-level situation awareness. You know why? Because he understands from his IGL game vision that the attack is coming from master side and from the K9 balcony. Nothing is coming from library balcony, and though he knows he can go and play in that corner and stay hidden top floor, that's going to be way more effective than going downstairs. And this is the kind of vision that we praise him for.
And especially in that moment, like you mentioned, Fresh, the first round in overtime, when attacking rounds have been so easy for these teams to win, it seems like defense really being on the back foot, but then to win that first round in overtime on the defense, super important. Now, with this tying the series back up in a 1-1, that means we have to go to a decider map, and that will be with us after the break.
Tap, tap, yeah, I want that. No lines, I don't cut back. Sweet, salty, and all that. Let loose, come get that. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel it? Let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Ooh, you feel that? Ooh, the real back. Ooh, I'm still that. Ooh, you catch that? Ooh, I guess that. The best back. Yeah, yeah. 30,000 up on my pallet. Might jump out if I'm wildin'. Catch my flow, I'm so stylish. Tap, tap, real smooth. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go.
Welcome back to the desk for the final map of this series. The map is going to be Cafe, that is our decider. But in regards of the group as well, talking about this match in specific, there is a lot to play for when it comes down to the points, and especially with the way this group has already been playing out.
I mean, yeah, with Fraza taking a 1 point away from DZ yesterday, with now making sure DZ took at least 1 point away from BDS, it's getting closer and closer. And now we're going to see a group where all the standings, everyone is getting closer and closer, and we might see a tiebreaker or a triangle to decide who's going to be the first of the group, who's going to be in the upper bracket or the lower bracket. It's getting more intense.
We came into this day and we thought that maybe this group was going to be decided between DZ and BDS. Obviously, Raza H Company Academy have kind of put a little bit of spanner in the works there. If DZ can cause an upset, it really makes it a wide open group for anybody to go and win.
Another group of opportunities, maybe. I guess all these groups seems like they could be groups of opportunities. But I think the momentum is definitely in favor of DarkZero here. Is there anything else that they're leaning onto for this final map, maybe?
Yeah, if you look at Cafe, it kind of plays the similar way from Chalet, right? Lots of pressure from the windows, lots of vertical play as well, lots of setup plays that can happen in attack, and that strong attack side needs to happen again for DarkZero. I will say, though, that for them, I'm happy about the good news. There are good news here. Kobe is alive, and he has good momentum, and he's got good energy, and he's dropping numbers. On the same time, look at Kangaroo, Kenny, and Naif here, presetting the plan. Well, I will tell you, Naif was on point on the last map. He led successfully the team in attack with an incredible side, and also with incredible opening engagements, and we saw that play on Capcan. And then other things are happening at the same time. Bolo, for example, dropping double digits against Prime BDS. That's something we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, it feels weird that we've not even really spoken about Bolo yet, but yeah, he had a very, very strong map on the side of Chalet. So I think for DZ, it's just about carrying on that momentum now. They flipped that momentum away from BDS. They had that comeback, they did that comeback, they lived that comeback. Now it's about going on and kicking on and getting themselves a map free.
Yeah, and especially that momentum is great to see. We already saw, like you mentioned, Kangaroo Kenny speaking with the players about the plans. A lot must have changed for this team with that new coaching staff coming in only so recently before SI, but the momentum is definitely in their favor. What are the positive things for BDS that we look forward to for them to clinch themselves back in this map? Do you think they'd be rattled from a map loss like this, 7-8?
It would be very easy for a lot of teams to be rattled when they've lost in such a manner, but not BDS. I will say that the BDS machine will just carry on going on as usual. We've seen them in plenty of majors now and tournaments where the group stage hasn't necessarily looked perfect. When there was in Manchester, you know, that game against PSG Talon, you know, they've had games across the group stages and phase 2 of the majors where actually it's looked a little bit dicey for BDS. They warm into the tournaments, and I think that's maybe a little bit of what we're seeing here. Obviously, this is their first best of 3, but these guys know of their quality. These guys know of their temperament. Yes, it's a disappointing loss, that map 2. Of course it is. They would have wanted to get a clean victory, get those 4 points on the board, but they will just move on to the next map. They won't even be thinking about map 2 as soon as they load into this server.
Yeah, I would argue that's part of their journey in most tier title tournaments. Rather, it's a good moment to just like keep grinding and keep raising their level throughout the tournament. They're never at 100% at the beginning of each tournament. They would love to be, but I will say in general, I'm not too rattled. I think they are the kind of teams that have built amazing mental fortitude. You can see Brede here just eating a banana casually. They're fine.
He's expecting a long haul. He needs the energy for this map. He's expecting 15 rounds.
I mean, yeah, with the way the second map went, I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be another 15 mapper coming up at us very soon. I'd like to hear from the two of you. Predictions, who's taking this third map?
I'll stick with BDS. I feel like they've got the momentum. I feel like, you know, losing that 7-8 on Chalet is you know, disappointing, but they will be fine. They will come back from this.
I basically just like disagreeing with you, Leo.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm going to go DarkZero.
You never agree with me.
I'm in North America. I want the North American people to like me, but I also do think that very often in a best of 3 scenario, whoever wins the map 2, especially if it goes to all 3 maps and it's a flip, then, you know, you're going to see them kick on in the third map. It very often happens. And I don't know, you know, a little bit of momentum. DarkZero have been very frustrating in this tournament in that we know that they've got more quality than they've been putting out. I said it off air actually during the second map. I feel like DarkZero are operating at 30-40% of their potential. They then kicked on. So it's now time to kick on again. DarkZero are a quality team that has been in a little bit of a rut in terms of this tournament. If they do kick on, then they're a devastatingly good team as well. So I'm going to back them to get it done.
And I mean, the momentum might as well be in their way even more because we see the players still getting ready, getting set up for this final map here. But as it stands, DarkZero will be starting out on the defense on a map like Cafe. That could be absolutely huge to get a few rounds under the belt. But I feel like it was the attacks on Chalet that really caused them to be back in control.
Yeah, that's not unusual rather than to see a Chalet that's attacker-sided. I will say it's one of the map in the meta that is easier to attack. Cafe is not the same. I think Cafe offers more natural cost fires. It offers more vertical play for defenders to abuse. I think in general, it's easier to defend on Cafe than on Chalet. So obviously, DZ starting that side, I would say would favor them a little bit.
Yeah, this first half is going to be crucial. DZ need to get out in front because BDS will be a good attacking team on Cafe. And other than Chalet, DZ have been struggling on their attack. So I would expect them to need maybe a 4-2, 5-1 split here.
One thing that I would like to pay attention to is the abuse of Blackbird. On both teams, these teams are all abusing Blackbird. I think it will be instrumental in Cafe as well because there is a lot of window play. And then for the executes, it's also magical to just push the defenders here.
All right, well, maybe the Blackbeard is going to be instrumental for these teams. Like you said, our players are almost ready, so it's time to bring in our casters back into it here with us. We have, again, Fluke, we have Xenox. You two were in particular really excited after that second map. It was a really good game. Are we ready for a potential another 15-round map?
15 map?
Wow. We could be here a while, and look, I
end up on like Plane and Favela.
It's one thing to win a map, it's another thing to win a series. And I think for BDS, as great as they are, you know, there's a reason why that they haven't actually got any trophyware in recent time coming into this event. They are fallible. So I think that that's probably a case where you can say, okay, well, they still played quite well. They were up 5-1. They had a really good map. And then DarkZero just found something very special. So can they do that again? I'm not too sure. I'm kind of with Leo here. I think going into Cafe, I think BDS is going to look very, very good. They're going to be very difficult to stop. You've got to remember, Nighthaven Labs was quite one-sided, whereas Chalet was a bit of a scrape.
They came back, right? And it's the journey back. I love the fact that, you know, the desk said Kobe struggled, and then Kobe did great. The desk said they're undefeated, and then they got defeated. So what's your guys' sort of word on this one, really?
All right, great. Thank you for throwing us under the bus.
It's okay.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. You know, well, analysts are not always right. Otherwise, we would make bank on predictions.
We just set expectations.
Yeah, we set expectations. That's it.
It's up to the teams to defy our expectations or not.
They have been. I did describe you guys as the cool kids earlier of the talent team, so you've got that going for you. But no, I'm just going to go with whatever the opposite them lot say about what's going to happen.
It's nice to disagree, just to disagree, to cause a bit of commotion in here as well, to get a bit of words flowing in between us. But the game is ready. The final map, it goes down on Cafe.
Well, a big opportunity for DarkZero. I mean, that's the way you kind of have to phrase this final map to be able to get a win, get more points as well for what's turning out to be a quite strange group with Razar Company at the moment on top. Above all, if BDS would actually lose this map, Emmy, I know that, of course, they did not play yesterday, but they would conclude today in the bottom two. It's a very hyperbole way, and it's also very much leaving out a lot of detail.
Yeah, but
I can say it.
But it's
fact.
We're play-by-play. It's drama.
It's
right?
drama.
It's drama. It's fact. It's their first day of games. But it's also true because, you know, the amount of pressure that they're under, a false start is going to be very frustrating. Granted, this was probably of their list of games, you know, one of the ones that they were looking at as a tougher showdown, but Falcons have been playing brilliantly. And Falcons, or they played brilliantly yesterday even.
Well, they play Razar tomorrow, don't they, BDS?
Yeah, and that's it. And obviously Razar, they're on the back-to-back of having a successful day. Yeah, as I said, Falcons, they're on their day off right now, so they're watching all of this, getting as many notes as possible. You know, they're busy at work, wanting to get some revenge here or some play against BDS, and it just starts one domino. It's like that graphic of like one tiny domino falling, and then it ends up on a huge domino. BDS out in groups is the huge domino. They've got to be the ones to put their hand down and stop it spiraling here. It starts here. We're talking.
Well, luckily for them, there's PSG talent.
You never know. It's the magic. Hey, what happened when BDS and PSG Talent won against each other last time?
No comment.
I believe. Well, I didn't even know if it was the last time, but PSG Talent have beat BDS this year. It's the magic of the cup.
Well, the way they're playing right now, I don't think that would be possible. Well, we've still got this map to finalize for this series. 1-1 between DarkZero and BDS. Now forcing us over to Cafe to decide who can walk away with the majority of the points and claim victory in this series. DarkZero pumped up. Kenny absolutely pumped up. Bolo with a tremendous performance on Chalet. Kobe has been performing. Liquefact's an interesting one for me, Emmy. Actually leading the server in terms of entries, but entries are half of his kills. He's actually the lowest on kills for BDS. Half of those kills have been on the entry. So he's kind of getting his one and then it's done and then not much else. And so I want to see a little bit more from Liquefact coming into Cafe. And what better way to see that than BDS on the attack to begin with. Again, shout out Medics, the GOAT. I went and saw him actually in the prod room after the second map, and I was like, good observing.
What did he say in response to that?
He said he didn't do good. He always holds himself in a high esteem.
Yeah. Well,
very harsh.
He's one. I think he's the most historied observer in our game. Obviously, he's been accredited for it. In fact, at previous size, didn't he also observe the game where T-Pain played?
That's
Is this some
my memory's not that great.
deep cut lore? Yeah, he's just what a throwback. It was T-Pain and Bikini Bodie were on the same team, I believe, once upon a time. But anyway, we're not there. We're here, battling on what is now the single map to see who can get the double points and get themselves away with it. DarkZero, they've been able to take one, but the sky is the limit. We always sort of talk about it before. We'll see if this will be one where it's the sky of Cafe Dostoevsky or where it was before. The start on the approach. Attack was heavily favored throughout all of the regulation rounds of Chalet before it became a little bit back and forth in the final throws of OT. But here, now at this moment in time, DarkZero, they're at the possibility of bucking this trend. Oh, there's the run out. There's the catch onto one. He saw a second for a second, and he's actually going to double dip, but the player has dropped on down. Naif gets the opener there on towards Shaiko, and Efac's able to get Kobe right back on the top floor.
I mean, if this is going to have a lot of similarities to Chalet, that's going to be a good thing for DarkZero in the long run, because Nighthaven Labs, they weren't really going this kind of one-for-one throughout the rounds, whereas Chalet was very scrappy, good fights. DarkZero were able to bring back disadvantages, but also get some of the entry kills in the second half. BDS, first half on Chalet, when they were attacking, they got all 6 opening kills to begin with. Well, that's already not going to be the case here for Cafe. Of course, a vastly different map, though. Logic Bomb from Liquefact, a good kill for him early on. One of the players that kind of mentioned to keep an eye on coming into Cafe. Naif, of course, was great in a couple of his clutch plays on Chalet, but Bolo really led from the front. Kobe is, well, already a storyline coming into this series, and boy, has he performed overall. Under a minute remaining, 4v4. BDS have actually started to make pressure towards the site, but Liquefact shut down. That pressure no longer there. Courtesy of Bolo with a good little peek from the bomb chassis. Shuts down that push coming through from Pillar. Solotop looking to back up this position, but his teammates are still top floor.
Just sees the pop-up and put right back down. Bolo gets himself a second for the round. As we said before, he was that difference maker, that X factor on the previous map here, and he's off to the same sort of start. Heated up. Ready to bring the fire on towards Cafe. There is now 2 players trying to eke their way around into his territory, the territory of the site itself. He pulls himself back, as he said. Great new positioning and repositioning. 14 seconds.
Oh,
goes out for his third. Predator stop his tear, but I think he'll be more than happy to take that. Naif gets the last. And there is the start of DarkZero.
Yeah, I mean, that's an impressive hold from Bolo.
Yes, baby!
Kenny's not going to have a voice by the end of the series if DarkZero win. I kind of want BDS to win just so Kenny doesn't lose his voice.
You know, like those like motivational edits that people make where they sort of have like the scenic shots and stuff. I want that with the stuff that Kangaroo Kenny is screaming. Just like shots of like rivers and trees, and it's yes, baby! I love it. And opening DarkZero round here, it's over the series the first time they've been able to get that so far. They've obviously found themselves working from the sort of back foot, and here, that...
I think that one thing you always have to not underestimate is passion.
Oh, yeah.
And when passion's mixed with momentum, it's a very powerful thing in Siege, and well, in sports in general even. And certainly right now, DarkZero have got the belief, they've got the passion, and they've got arguably the momentum. And defense here on Cafe to begin, you know, pretty comfortable. You get the opening round, Bolo with a 3K after he was tremendous on Chalet. You know, sometimes you can have that sort of pop-off performance and then you fizzles out maybe the next map, but Bolo starts strong. That keeps his momentum going. And they just look really well worked. Whereas for BDS, like, you know, you can kind of question, why is Liquifact just peeking solo on the reading side by himself? You still got 2 players top floor. They just looked a little bit disjointed in their attack in the opening round. They bring the Blitz here onto Brede, the Sens as well with the ROUs. So a little bit of a different lineup now for BDS coming into the second round.
I mean, it's the idea, obviously, that yesterday NA as a region as a whole struggled. They weren't able to really get anything out of any of their games, and, you know, without spoiling.
Shopify looked okay.
But they didn't get the...
They didn't get the result.
They didn't get the win. Here, so far, currently, you know, we've got DarkZero now up against BDS on this first map of the first round, but they're up technically. There was an NA win earlier on in the day as well. Kobe gets Liquifact.
That's pretty big. I mean, if you're bringing a Sens, it's always going to be a big part of your win con. It's just that kind of operator. There's a reason why you bring it with the ROUs. And so that not being there is definitely not ideal. But also, you lose the smoke now into Bambazoo. Big kill from Solotov. Kind of resets the round. 4v4, I think relatively evened up between the two teams. But it's the ability for Kobe to find that opening kill by going for the jump out, the run back through bot Y. I mean, it's a very ballsy sort of play for a rookie who has had a lot of people talk about him. 4v3 though, with Shaiko getting rid of NJR. Just like that, all of a sudden, despite the opening kill for DarkZero, BDS with a slight advantage. 90 seconds left. Brito just sending it through Bakery here with the Blitz trying to find some information.
I mean, at this, they have a lot of time right now. The Blitz is knocking on the door itself. They just need to try and formulate the hold. And you can see that the remaining members of DarkZero are trying to break it. It's a risky play, but they confirm the kills. They won't get picked back up, and there's no one to trade it. And there's Kobe getting Solotov. Nave getting used as well out of the exchange of it. And as Brede goes for the plant, suddenly it's a 2 versus 3. The C4 is ripped and thrown. Not quite close enough to stop the plant. The second won't get the drop as well. Helped by the shield, but he is only on a sliver of health. Shaiko having to watch both ways. The pings are hot, and it's not enough as Bolo comes around the corner, and Bolo!
Well, I love that again there from Kenny as he gives it to Kobe and says, nice job, because Kobe was a big factor in that round, Emmy. First the jump out to begin with, but then in the middle portion of the round, just as it felt like BDS were kind of bringing things back, Shaiko gets a kill, 4-on-3. Kobe goes outside, deals with the Twitch, gets the kill, and it stops the reinforcements for BDS to follow Brede into the site on the Blitz. The Blitz goes in, but if no one else is following, and they ended up just being Shaiko, you don't have the firepower there, and DarkZero are then in a position to retake any kind of plant attempt. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty funny watching that Nitrocell just go like all of 1 meter on the throw. It's like when you try and throw something in your dreams, and you have no power. It's just like, ugh. But hey, tremendous job. And again, 4v3, just over a minute left. Kobe goes for a play, and that's a ballsy play at that. Bolo does Bolo things, no surprise. Lord Glass is activated, the flash is ineffective. And Kenny, he's gonna need a Strepsil after this.
We need like a decibel monitor. Like, if we could get one of those behind teams.
I just can't help but laugh.
He's hyped.
I wish I was that hype in life.
I mean, if I was coaching a team to beat BDS, I would be that hyped.
Absolutely.
Right? We need to get Kangaroo Kenny behind Talent in just the green room, just to make us all feel better about ourselves. 2 rounds. DarkZero, now they are on Cafe defense. You know, it's expected for defenders to be able to get themselves in a good position here. They're off to a decent aggressive start, though, as you said. Kobe having the confidence to throw himself out. Bolo, 5 kills over 2 rounds. Being the perfect place, the perfect op, and the perfect time. It's just flowing for him right now. He's truly in that state. And now it's down to BDS to see if they can try and piece this apart on towards the third side and towards the heavy machinery. Not going to the top floor, that's fallen out of favor because, well, everybody generally started to piece together how to take it apart and pull it away. This gives DarkZero a bit more space and a bit more freedom and creativity, and it slows BDS down. And that's sort of the important part that they're trying to do right now.
So since the first half of Chalet, so since then, the conclusion of it, only 2 opening kills for BDS. So that's the entirety of the second half, overtime, and the 2 rounds to begin here. DarkZero have transformed their ability in this series, coming from Nighthaven Labs at the first half of Chalet, where they're finding more aggression early in the rounds. They're getting early peaks, early picks, And they're also then able to capitalize because they've got the numbers. You can then be more aggressive. You don't have to feel the stress when you're in a 4v5, when in comparison, you're now in a 5v4.
At this point, as you said, the point on towards the first engagement is going to be one that might be the tip of the spear or just sort of a rebuffing. The Havana trying to clear the space above the site and the kit on towards Piano, but it's Solotov that does find NJR from the back end, but instantly traded out because he's just in the middle of the site, taking a risky move, and it's not quite paid off as it did before. The C4 on the windowsill won't quite get the catch on the player, but you can see BDS is so concerned about how DarkZero have been anticipating, manipulating the space outside of the map itself. They're exploring all of their options, and all of them are generally leading towards killing. And talking of that, Pamba heading his way up the stairs and right back down.
45 seconds remaining here in the third round. If DarkZero can find 3 in a row, it's really going to put BDS into that tilt mode. Users breaking down the barricade inside a shop. BDS just trying to see if they can maybe find someone before the eventual push towards the site. Top floor has been cleared. No one there for DarkZero. Pamperzoo still actually over towards first floor as well, can offer a point of difference then just on the site itself, let alone even on that second floor. As the smoke comes out, the push is going to be quite quick. 17 seconds remaining with the Warden still up on Kobe. He is one to watch as Nafe gets rid of users. 0-3 for him.
Bride gets the cross on towards Bolo, and they are flooding their way into the site, but Nafe doing all the work that he can. It's popped either side. Kobe stops the ace, but I'm sure Nafe is going to forgive him. Shaiko at 1 versus 3, but they have his position in time. DarkZero 3-0, and they complete their defensive rotation.
I mean, surely that's timeout for BDS, right?
You're the timeout general.
I mean, surely.
Hey, you're right.
Stu needs to call one here, and I've done it again.
You've done it again. Everyone at home, please clap along. The timeout general once again predicts.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to talk about here right now for BDS because they just look quite shambolic in comparison to Nighthaven Labs. If you want to use the sample of Labs where they were very much connected, they were in sync, they were playing as a unit, all 5 players pretty much playing at the same level, which was a pretty high level. To go back to that and as an example, they were all above 110 EPS. That doesn't happen often where all 5 are playing at that kind of level. Now we're seeing drop-offs. Liquefact struggling in this series. He's had the lowest kills. Yes, he's got entries, but then he doesn't do much else. User struggling in this map, hasn't found a kill. Shaiko's been kind of up and down, so not quite consistent. And that means that BDS have too many holes right now where not enough people are standing up. And on the flip side of things, DarkZero are looking like a team that is confident and sensing almost like a shark that there's the blood in the water and we've got them right where we want them. It's just about finishing them off. 3-0 start. And again, even in this round, BDS got the opening kill. BDS had advantages. BDS were in the round, but DarkZero never panicked. And that's where they've improved throughout the course of this series.
I mean, yes, Nafe. I fully agree that we saw obviously the full bit of play there where he was able to get, you know, he sprays up to Liquefact above him, transfers down to users in the middle of the site. He's just been caught out time and time again throughout this map so far, and then able to get himself coolly, calmly onto the super shoddy and get that final sort of piece of the puzzle done. It's just, as you said, a bit disjointed from BDS here. Stuflex has to try and rein them in.
So 4 players now. So remember that stat I said on Labs, whereas the 5 above 110 for the side of BDS.
Yep.
Well, now it's only 2 above 100 for BDS. So that's quite a big drop-off. So, I mean, you can clearly see that on the servo. Solotov gets an opening kill onto Pamperzoo, who was actually going to be my next point, unfortunately for Pamper. The timing of this is awful, but he's the only one in red when it comes to EPS. 11 and 23, 70 EPS. He's the only one that's somewhat struggled. The other 4 members, though, for DZ, as Shaiko shuts down Kobe, all above 100. So this is not the kind of round that we probably anticipated. BDS haven't done much like this probably since the first half of Chalet. 2 opening kills. We haven't even cracked under 2 minutes yet. This is not what DarkZero want. If BDS get the machine going, they will be hard to stop.
Well, let's kind of be honest here. It feels like they're punishing DarkZero, trying some outlandish stuff, and fair enough. You know, we talked about it before. The best thing to do after an opponent's timeout is to start doing outlandish stuff. They won't have talked about the difference of the game, right? They won't have talked about the changes that you've made. They lost the peak from the top of Whiskey. It's a pretty standard spawn peak. And then the rotate, that was just poorly timed. I'm assuming Shaiko is making his way across the eastern windows. it goes wrong on Cocktail, fair enough. But now it's down to BDS to sort of play against the official hold the site itself. You still have the 2 players from DarkZero that on this map so far have pretty much defined it between Nath and Bolo. And then you've got NJR, one of those big clutch factor players and one of the most historied players for the roster. There he goes. Bolo gets 1 more for his tally for the day so far. There's a fight on the top of this window.
Head about to be popping there.
I mean, that's it. They're angled, they're prepped, they're ready. Brede is aware of the player as well.
Oh, sees the foot.
Oh, it's a bit of damage, and he gets out of there, though, and now it's the pressure on towards Cigar.
Yeah, I mean, Nath is very low now, so it's going to take something very special. Bolo, jump out kill. Claymore, though, claims his life. It's a 2v2, but Nath is still very low. Something to consider here. BDS with 50 seconds on the attack. I'd still like their position, just a bit more than DZ. But DZ have now got themselves back into a position where they can actually win this round, despite the 5v3 beginning of the round for BDS. Nitrocell pre-placed. Still an impact available as well for Nath. And honestly, the way DZ have been playing, it would not surprise me whatsoever if they can pull this off. And if they do, with a 4-0 start out of this timeout, it's going to put BDS absolutely into tilt mode.
I mean, they're going to have to try and drop it down. They might regret putting that C4 on the roof now because they're going for the default plant. Will they retake above? Yes, they will, but is Usus ready for it? They're trying to go for the fight. They're trying to go for 2-pronged, 1 fight, and Usus has to watch every single direction and level. He goes down. They've got vertical. They've almost got it, but it's a 1 versus nobody. NJR! I said it at the start. He has the clutch capabilities, and he proves it here now. Slow and steady, my boy.
It was a 5-on-3 double kill pre-2 minutes for BDS. Everything about the round coming out of a timeout said that they should go on and win it. And for DarkZero to bring that round back in that fashion and make it 4-0 out of the timeout.
I'm asking, the guys want to push right or long bar? No one answering. No one. So what the fuck are we doing? Focus the plan. 5v3, it's perfect. We got our tricky because they're playing like fucking retard. After that, for 1 minute 50, guys, 1 minute 50, no one answering to me. Next time, you guys, what I'm going to do? I'm going to fucking ruin the round and scream to everyone until someone's killed. Okay?
A very stressed man.
I feel scared.
A very stressed man.
I'm not going out in the hallway for like 10 minutes after this game. I'm just going to wait in here. But it says everything. I mean, I kind of said it midway through that round. If they lose it from here, it's going to go into tilt mode. And we saw it right there with Liquefac at the end. That is a huge round for DarkZero and BDS to kick off the Six Invitational. You've got to remember, this is the first series for them. They didn't play yesterday. And this is a startling way to begin their campaign for one of the favorites, if not for what many probably from EU would consider the favorite. Are you okay? Did Liquefac hurt you?
We don't agree with all the language you used, and I'll leave it for that. 4-0.
Hey, that's for him to worry about.
4-0. DarkZero, they have themselves in the driver's seat, in the passenger seat, and at this point, BDS is sort of running behind as best as they can, but it is getting further and further away. The timeout is used. This might be all that they can have between here and the end of the map itself, but the pressure in the glass is on. There is one, Solotov, straight and direct into the heart of Bolo and the heart of DarkZero's sort of, resurgence across this. Again, if they can get rid of Nath, and suddenly the amount of kills on the side of DarkZero isn't huge. Pamba hasn't been able to find a body so far in this game, and neither has Users, but it's a little bit more evenly spread across the side. The opponents here, 4-0.
Solotov's third round in a row where he's got the opening kill. So, I mean, he's starting to at least give BDS that look in and give them an early advantage. They just haven't been able to capitalize off the back of it. But good use on the Glaz that they got 5v4. But the issue for BDS, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, has just been when they actually get to the site, they just look disjointed. The attack starts to fall apart. DarkZero just find a way to get that counter punch in, whether that's a run out, whether that's a swing or a peek. NJR in a very, very aggressive position, playing off the yokai drones. Leif is dead though. No more yokais. Montang in your face. Gut break not going to work. And it looks as if BDS will be responding to everything Liquefac just said, and they will pick things up here in the 5th round with a very dominant round, a very dominant performance. It started with Solotov, it ends with him, and that's better, says Liquefac.
I mean, He's right. It's good to see Solotov being a bit vocal, because usually he's the quietest member of the roster. You know, sometimes it's interchangeable with users, but you know, they're not always the ones that get themselves sort of in the heated debate. And yes, it is right. Liquefact can take a breath, they can sort of move their way on and start trying to grow back into it. There is still at least a guarantee of at least, 4 rounds and a half for the side of DarkZero here. But hey, remember last time, last map. It doesn't matter who is up 5-1. There's always the possibility of a comeback. There's going to be the balance of who has the power on the sides itself. But this is a BDS that quite obviously is a little bit ticked off, a little bit angry.
That's one way to put it.
A little bit frustrated. And they got to try and turn that into performance right now. And it's such a delicate line, though, because they always say that anger is one of those things that can fuel you forever, right? You can have that anger, but if you go wrong with it, it will absolutely destroy you and absolutely tear you apart. And as you sort of said, you don't want to be in the corridor if the conversation goes bad after that. They've then got to come back in and start playing more games. This is day 1 of the tournament, And we've seen tournament favorites crash out of tournaments before.
Yeah, you either flame out or you find that ability to just kind of reset things. I mean, it's day 2, day 1 technically for BDS. I mean, there's no reason for them to get this upset, but it's probably just the standard that they have for themselves as individuals, but also even as a team. And despite everything that has transpired, let alone in this map, but also in the series, if BDS can find another attacking round win here in the 6th round, hey, it's pretty much par for the course when it comes to Cafe. And puts the pressure a little bit back onto DarkZero, because they then will need to go and find more attacking kills. And the lurk here from Solotov on the Nook, straight through Bar. Bolo over towards the cocktail balcony. Will he be ready for this? He was not ready whatsoever. The creep up is successful from Solotov, and White Stairs has been taken by Liquefact on the Blackbeard. They did lose users though, who has struggled on Cafe. 4v4, Nitrocell placed out by Kobe, explodes, no one there.
They do lose, obviously, a big bit of getting that verticality opened up as well. The removal of the boogie drones, and suddenly all that soft is, what, the work of Hibana, the work of just trying to smash your way across. It's awkward territory to try and control, to try and get some damage done. Now as they look to get themselves sort of...
There's only 4 drones left, Emmy, as well. With a minute and a half, it's a decent amount of time. So DarkZero has done a decent job in dealing with the drone economy of BDS.
Do they just want to send themselves down? There's the player waiting on White and an Echo drone that's here to just get the clarification on the space. Now the Blackbeard did hop themselves out of the window. They have the chance at a retake, but they might want to... I was going to say threat of C4. All of them are actually gone. There's the lead up, there's the hit, and there's the escape. There is some support coming. Solotov gets one. Pamba trades it out at least, so it wasn't entirely for naught, but suddenly the fight is on the bottom of the stairs, and a Blackbeard has the lockdown and the close down. They've been able to get themselves rested around the site. They're going for the plant as the other 2 players keep the pressure on towards them. NJR does get Liquefact and buys them back in, but it's a post-plant situation. NJR gets himself another. I said he had clutch capabilities, but now it's down to Shaiko to prove that he has the ones of the champion. 40 seconds. He has a lot of time here for the opponents to start rebuilding, but he's getting himself almost 2 1 versus 1s. Either side of a door, back and forth, and it's Nave that gets the end, and DarkZero put themselves on a 5-1 half.
I mean, amazing double kill from NJR in the hallway. They understood full well. Once they cleared out the Blackbeard in reading that it was going to be that mining plant, they rotate over pretty quickly, get rid of the player guarding Shaiko. And Shaiko almost has an opportunity to get the 2 1v1s, but they just don't peak one by one. There's the slight little peak, then unpeak. They didn't fully commit to it. I think they played that absolutely perfectly. DarkZero go 5-1 up. Oh, they're this close to knocking off BDS for BDS's debut at the Six Invitational. To begin it with a series loss was not on, I tell you, it's not on Fresh's bingo card.
I mean, what, but the magic of the cup. No, it is just the possibilities.
Look at that kill.
Are always there. NJR again,
And then deals with Bride just as he got the plant down. So the timing of that is impeccable. Bride doesn't even get a chance to really defend himself. Shaiko's too far back, actually, inside of mining. And the idea of the round for BDS there, of course, you get cocktail control, and with that, the vert you can plant inside of reading. But once DarkZero wanted to retake that, they forced that fight, they then adapt. They go for the quick rush over towards mining, which I thought was a pretty good approach. If Brino gets that plant down 2 seconds earlier and has the gun up, it could have been an entirely different round. But it also then goes to show DarkZero's ability to be flexible on the defense. 5-1, they go on the attack now.
There's a lot of people that might lose a lot of channel points soon. The pressure starts here once again. Now, as long as BDS can keep DarkZero off of map and series point, it won't get itself any more intense than it currently is. And obviously, we point towards the map that just happened, a 5-1 that was pulled back towards the team actually winning it at the end. But that is how
Brino died on the smoke this early in the round. I mean, that's unforgivable. That's a role that you need to be alive late round.
Shaika gets one back onto Kobe, but there's Bolo over the cover of the shield. There's a swing from Wedding that's about to happen, and Bolo almost got caught out by it, but he's between the fight, and Shaika does actually get one, but gets dropped, but the support from Prep is not enough. NJR does get it locked down. Everything has happened in the opening minute and 20 here.
I mean, they're just basically walking in the front door and saying, we're just better. And that's the case right now. Nate, good information onto Solotov. The Warden thinks about maybe wanting to pull the pistol out. Liquefact rotating back through Small Bake in towards Bake. So they now have information on where the remaining two players of BDS are. 1-for-1, they trade each other, but that's a win for DarkZero, Emmy. They keep the numbers advantage. NJR will finish it off. 6-1 in favor of DarkZero, and BDS firmly on the ropes.
Yo, Yusha, stop fucking shaking! Come on! Just rush everyone, rush the mover team. We can do the Intel, the Kate strat, no? What do you think? Kate strat with the trap. I can play recruit.
It's tough. It's tough to be in this position. As I said, pressure is everything,
I
right?
think as well, when you get a result such as this, if you're DarkZero and you finish it off and you get the win, you're beating BDS after you've just lost to Razar Company. How bipolar could you be?
If you would have sort of, there's somebody that like probably posted with the like blast predictions we can do, went on the Reddit and was like, ha 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 guys, look at my fun predictions. And they're sitting there like, am I an oracle? Can I see into the future? It's impressive. One of the things that I quickly want to highlight, I love, and you said it before, Kangaroo Kenny specifically is going up to the people that matter in the round or have done big things in the round, every single round, and he is 150%. You are the best. You are the sixth guy. You are doing all of this stuff. It ties into the things that Fresh sort of said that previous players have said about Kangaroo Kenny as a coach. What he does is elevate players individually. He takes them, he makes them feel better about themselves, and it's so blatant in his actions when you truly get to see him on the make or break line. Is it the biggest difference factor? Yes, no, who knows? No one can tell you apart from the players themselves, but you can see how happy they are and how excited they are. And yes, he might not have a voice within 3 days. That's him.
He's not going to have a voice by this afternoon.
That's his worry. 6-1. BDS have to play flawless from this point onwards, or they will leave today, or their first day at SI 2025, tournament favorite, with only a single point.
Yeah, and they'll be in the bottom two of their group, which would be lower bracket. I'm not saying they're going to finish there, and I don't think they will, but I mean, this is not the way you want to start your tournament. But hey, you know, if there's ever a time, I think we said it a little bit on the B stream yesterday, Emmy, if there's ever a time to lose, get that little kick up the butt, it's now. It's in the group stage, and it's also apparently for BDS, their first series. This is going to be that wake-up call that we are not invincible. There is a reason why we failed in Manchester. There's a reason why we failed in Montreal. Let's not fail here. Let's actually pick things up a bit because everyone else is improving and we can't stay at the top forever. 6-1. I mean, that is also the damning statistic. It's not as if this is just like DarkZero scraping over the line similar to Chalet. This is an absolute dominating performance on Cafe by the North American team. Liquefact, Solotov, already a tiny bit of damage. DarkZero on the attack though, of course, now in this half. Already 1-0. Can they make it 2-0 and go 7-1? And the push now coming from Bolo. The rappel in towards the white corridor. Clears out washrooms. One. Over towards Freezer, which is users.
A minute left. Now at this point, DarkZero obviously have the pressure of trying to get the kid in. They've been able to get sort of narrow grasp on the top, but 2 kills make it feel a lot more strong. NJR does find Lukafak in the meantime. It's not the biggest removal of operators, but as Nath gets users, the retake on the verticality. They get the ground into sort of their favor. They're able to battle it back and forth. At least the defenders now still with the site itself, but the fact that the battlefield is over there, not quite getting the catch. The drop into Laundry is well predicted, but Nath somehow wins it out, and NJR gets another, and it's all down to Solotov here. A slow start, but he's got to have a loud finish. He cannot. DarkZero have done what many say impossible, but as we prove right now, nothing is impossible.
No, nothing is. We saw that last night. It's reaffirmed immediately today as well. DarkZero 2-1 winners over BDS. Huge points, huge map wins. It was a bit of a slow burn on Nighthaven Labs. They lost that one 7-3. Chalet was a battle, a war of attrition. They win it out, and then they stomp BDS on Cafe. A resounding 7-1. Stomping demolition of EU's premier powerhouse team, who have to begin their campaign at Six Invitational with an L.
Unbelievable. I mean, there's going to be a lot of us, I think, sat here asking, wondering, questioning kind of what happened on the first day, but DarkZero happened. That's all you can really say, and you know, the BDS players, it's the knock on the first day. It is far from the end of anything for any of them. There's things they got to teed out, but what a game.
Yeah, I mean, what a series from both of these two, but especially from DarkZero. They've had their critics for sure, not just on the team, but also for the individuals. They've answered, and they have silenced those critics.
Tap, yeah, I want that. No lines, I don't cut back. Sweet, salty, and all that. Let loose, come get that. Can you play that back? Can you run that back? I'm trying to play that back. I want that. Tap, let's go. Tap, let's go. Tap, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go. Tap, let's go. Tap, let's go. Tap, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Ooh, you feel that? Ooh, the real back. Ooh, I'm still that. Ooh, you catch that? Ooh, I guess that. The best back. Yeah. 30,000 up on my pallet. Might jump out if I'm wildin'. Catch my flow, I'm so stylish. Tap, real smooth. Can you play that back? Can you run that back? I'm trying to play that back. I want that. Tap, let's go. Tap, let's go. Tap, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go.
have Nath and NJR sitting next to us after this victory. First off, congratulations, but for you, NJR, we have to say congratulations for a second reason, because it's also your birthday.
I mean, I don't really care about my birthday, so I'm just...
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Nick. Happy birthday to you.
Wonderful. Love to see that. Also great to win a game on your birthday. Great stuff from you guys, especially to turn stuff around. From you as well, that play in overtime on Chalet must have absolutely been a momentum changer.
I mean, yeah, we had momentum seriously on the attacks. The defenses were rough, as you can imagine, but yeah, we had momentum going into the attacking half and then into overtime. Yeah, I don't know. I felt like laying prone. Kobe literally said to me, "Yeah, we won this round," when he saw me lay prone. So yeah, I was feeling it.
Cool. Well, it worked definitely. We know there's been a big change for your coaching staff as well. Getting in Kangaroo Kenny, how has that been for you guys? How has this helped you for the last few months?
I mean, I think he just brings a lot of understanding for the game, and his prep work's been very good for us. I think he motivates the guys very well. He has individual goals for all of us, team goals, I think, and he's implemented everything perfectly for us. It's been huge.
British. And he's British.
Which also helps, I guess, if in your case. Now, we have to talk about yesterday. What do you feel went wrong in you guys' eyes?
I think we played a little too in our own shells. I think, as you sorted out in the Chalet attacks, I think that was more the style we want to play, like in their face, not predictable. We definitely were predictable yesterday. I still think we could have won with the play style we had, but I just think, yeah. What was the last map yesterday? The second map? Chalet. I can't remember. It was just a bit sloppy throughout yesterday. I would describe yesterday as sloppy, to be honest.
All right, maybe better to forget about it in general, forget what map it was and the whole game.
This game will help us forget about it a bit, so.
Exactly, and for you as well, a better way to celebrate it, so I guess a better way to close this off today and celebrate a birthday as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I wanted, so.
Awesome, well thank you so much and best of luck for the next game.
Thank you.
This has to be one of the most wholesome interviews, I think, with NJR and the whole player booth saying happy birthday. But what a way to celebrate your birthday as well, with some very welcome points for DarkZero. Great momentum from that second map, turned it all the way into the third map as well. Some great individual plays that we saw, but they were in control.
Yeah, they really were. I think they took control on the defense. The coordination, the team play was absolutely incredible. Obviously, as you see here, they got themselves onto 5-1 Cafe defense split, which isn't necessarily unheard of, but it was definitely a prerequisite for DarkZero to go on and win the round. What impressed me, past that as well, is they managed to just kick on their attacks. Something that they really hadn't looked good at yesterday. They didn't look good attacking in map 1 of this best of 3 fixtures today, and then on Chalet, and then again on Cafe. They got pretty good attacks down and done, and their team playing coordination was off the charts.
I mean, look at these highlights. I mean, look at the shots that NJR was hitting. Like, everyone was on fire. Dang, it's impressive.
It's the birthday buff.
Yeah, the amount of one-taps, I mean, they were really kicking in. I know you've mentioned before, right? In a BO3, you win the second map, you've got the momentum for you, and usually you convert that into a win. I've got to say, like, that was really true today. Like, the third map, they were on point, laser-focused, every single one of them, and they were doing it all together. Yeah, 10-3 for NJR on the last one. Crazy.
Yeah, again, but the MVP on the losing team, it's so sour to see that, even though there were definitely some stand-up performances, like we mentioned, over on the side of DarkZero.
Yeah, I think for Solotov, that's a tricky one as well, because he very often gets overshadowed in the role that he does. In the person in the first entry role in front of him is Shaiko, and the rest of the talent along that team. Obviously, he's got a lot of talent. He's proven that again today, but unfortunately, it was a little bit of a one-man army from a Solotov point of view. As we move through to the overall scoreboard here, it's going to make good reading, to be honest, if you're a DZ fan. You're not going to worry too much about the individual stats. Maybe, Pamba's had a particularly bad day on the KD front, but actually, the thing that you're going to focus on the most is that your team have just 2-1'd one of the best teams in the tournament favorites.
Look at the plant rate on Breeding. 8 plants. 8 plants, and they still lose. Don't you think that's weird? It's incredible. And the main reason for this is the retakes. They keep retaking even if they plant. Yeah. They planted 3 times. They planted 3 times in that last map. What's the scoreline? 7-1.
And it was 3 2v2 scenarios in those post plants as well. It was absolutely so well worked from DarkZero.
Yeah, that is the important thing. I feel like we have to talk about those 2v2s at that point, especially when the plant is down. It could go either way, but DarkZero really excels in those.
Yeah, we have a great example here on round 4 in Cafe. As you can see, it's a 2v2 setup, and we're gonna see Yuzus and Bride attempting a plant. So Yuzus with Ram has vertical play to cover entirely the bomb site. So Bride can go and start the plant. Look at what DZ is doing. One is rushing the planter as NGR goes up to kill the cover. As soon as the cover is planted, you see a double swing. The Valkyrie from the side, and NGR can trade from above. Once again, this is just one small example, but when we mentioned that they consistently took over rounds where you had the opposing team BDS that was planting, it's because they're able to retake properly every time they play together. They do it together super well.
Yeah, there's the kitchen retake in that post-plant. There was the mining retake in the post-plant. For BDS, they've got to 3 successful post-plants on Cafe, and none of them. They won none of them. So for BDS, that's really got a sting as well.
Yeah, they're going to have to look at that and see what exactly went wrong, where the cover went wrong, where the team play went wrong in those. A lot for them to have to kind of iron out for these next playdays, especially because they've already had their day off. So for them, it's only games until the end of their SI run from here on. But one player that we saw in this highlight, and we still have to highlight once again 2 game-defining moments, I guess we can say, Nath.
Yeah, Nath, not only in the in-game leadership, but I feel like in some positions, look at the trade here. So you see NGR is playing towards train here. What you're gonna see from Nath is incredible trade potential. Boom, swing as soon as NGR is dead. Okay, I need to retake his position. So I'm gonna go in train. Oh, but there's someone on the window. I burn the C4 so I can position in train safely. Now he makes himself forgotten. Look at his position. From this position, he's covered by the red train and he cannot get picked from the hatch. It's the perfect positioning, starts free-firing here and gets to the dropper. Moves to green train is safe from the hatch. He can now trade with a close range with a shotgun. Amazing play. Once again, it's not only getting these kills, it's the positioning every time. It's so well done.
IGLs and support players often play those difficult positions. That's a really difficult position for Nave to play in. And you can forgive players at times when they get killed in those positions or, you know, they just go through the process. Great IGLs, great support players make their own luck. You saw Nath there making his own luck by playing and positioning himself so smartly that he won his team the round off the back of that.
Yeah, it was that one. It was the play-in library on Chalet as well. Just really important moments for this team here. And then, of course, it shaked up things in our Group C. Let's have a look at the standings because due to this being a 2-1, that means both teams at least get something from it. But if you would have told me the group was going to look like this after 2 days, I would have probably told you, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. I think predictions-wise, again, if you was coming into this kind of cold before the tournament, you're assuming maybe PSG Talon might struggle inside of this group. But again, I'll keep saying it, the 2 teams that we think that were going to be successful inside of this group would be DarkZero and Team BDS, the teams that are currently in 3rd and 4th place. Falcons obviously got that 2-0 victory yesterday, their day off today. And then Raza Company Academy, who would just keep kicking on and kicking on. Yeah, I can't wait. Sorry, just to interrupt you, Lou. I can't wait to see Raza against BDS now.
Yeah, that's going to be a barn burner for sure. And I was about to say, I talked to Katu in between the 2 maps, on the 3rd map actually, asking her, you know, like, this is very scary with Raza overperforming right now. You might be in a situation where either DarkZero or you are going to end up in the lower bracket.
Yes.
Straight in SI. And they're supposed to be heavy favorites here. So it's very interesting to see how this group will develop throughout the days.
Yeah, lower bracket runs all the way to the Hammer are definitely not unheard of, but it definitely makes things a little bit more difficult. Now, of course, we still have the Black Light detail for today, and this one has to do with a play that we saw on Chalet.
Yeah, this is all the way back to map number 1, and this is going to be Yuzus. Obviously, this was better days for BDS, and Yuzus here does something that you very rarely see. He melees a C4, and then he picks up the double kill to boot to win his team the round. Very, very small thing. Incredible showing of skill. I think if you give a lot of pro players like 10 attempts to do that, they would struggle.
I think most pro players would have forgot that they could melee the C4. It never happens.
Instinctively, especially with a Blackbeard shield as well.
Yeah, but I don't think I've ever seen or heard of this happen. A C4 melee, very, very rare to happen in a game like this, especially with it being on LAN. Zero ping helping, I think, a lot in that as well.
Yeah, we usually shoot them. And when you shoot a C4, it's a real confidence boost when you're playing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's that really fine, sharp shooting coming out here, but this time with the melee. That'll be it for us today here on the A-Stream. I mean us 3, because of course we have 2 more games coming up on the A-Stream. That is also the must-see game between Shopify and Secret coming up after this break.